different command and control node. That implies a much smaller facility. Israel is adamant this hospital was a command center, but for now, at least, it's either not found supporting evidence or it's not sharing it.
Ladies and gentlemen, so that was the BBC earlier today, and you can find that full video clip on my Twitter page. But I mean, as you can see, man, I mean, they're pretty much calling Israel out. They're pretty much calling the IDF out, and they're pretty much calling bullshit on a lot of stuff, right? And you know, on one hand of the coin, I'm like, okay, well, we still, you know, maybe they found something and they don't want to talk about it. But on the other hand of the coin, I'm kind of calling bullshit myself as well. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? I'm kind of there to where I'm calling bullshit. Okay, because again, it's been however many days, we haven't seen a goddamn tunnel. They released that one video, took it down, edited some stuff, threw it back up there, and that video still didn't show me a goddamn thing to show that this was a Hamas headquarters, right? And you know, the former Israeli Prime Minister, actually came out today with, you know, he did a live interview on TV, and he's basically like, hey, you know, the Hamas headquarters are actually in southern Gaza, right? Nowhere near where the IDF currently sits up in the north. And I'm just hearing a bunch of shit from a bunch of individuals on the same team, which don't make any goddamn sense to me, right? So, anyways, that's, you know, those are the updates so far regarding the actual hospital. I know a lot of you guys want to talk about it. I know a lot of you guys want to debate about it. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the show is absolutely back. We're absolutely back in the building. And without further ado, man, I definitely want to hear from all of you guys on the stage and more. So if you're in the audience, you want to get on stage, hit the request button so I can pull you up to the stage. My brother Yehuda, man, I mean, what's the deal with these guys, bro? I mean, what's the move, man? I'm not seeing nothing, bro. Let's talk about it.
Let us talk about it. That's the formal way. Nelson, thanks so much for the space, and everyone should be typing in that blue purple pill thing there. Let us know just how wrong I sound or how right Nelson sounds. Disagree with you, brother. The Israelis are not going to share everything with anyone, and they don't need to show anybody. Mark Regev, the spokesperson, actually senior advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu, who's also the Israeli ambassador to the UK, was asked the exact same question on Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan sounded like you. It was Nelson Morgan. He said, look, what I'm looking at doesn't look like what you've been talking about. And he outright said, I know, give it time. There are certain operational reasons which we can't show you certain things, and we're not going to. But you will see when the time is right that what we said is true. So he outright was told, just like Piers Morgan said, just like you, look, you know, you've been saying this, this, and this, and here's this. Look, so from a military perspective, what are the reasons? Okay. Israel doesn't necessarily want Hamas to know just how much they know about their network. The chances are there isn't one just ladder going down into a hole. There are probably 50, 100 entrances, ingress routes from the SHIFA hospital into that underground subterranean network. I suspect, Nelson, that the Israelis may or may not believe there to be hostages, so they don't want to let on to those who are underground exactly which access routes the Israelis have discovered or where they're at. So I think the reason why they took it down is they thought, you know what, this might affect our operational security. Again, they don't care what Billy Joe Bob 42 at Yahoo on Twitter thinks about their success or not. They have a lot of operational security factors going on. Malcolm Nance wrote it. Look, they're fighting door to door upstairs. They're fighting tunnel to tunnel downstairs. I guess the wait and see part is a big factor. And Regev said it right on Piers Morgan. Goes, yep, I know that, and you'll see it when it's ready. So I guess what I'm saying is we're gonna have to wait and see, Nelson. Over to you.
Yeah, but I mean, Yehuda, you gotta understand, bro. The problem is every day that goes by with no tunnel being presented to the public, Israel loses credibility.
Well, that's not they have presented the entrance to a tunnel. They have shown the entrance to a tunnel. Okay.
No, they haven't, bro.
They've discovered the entrance to a tunnel. Absolutely.
Bro,
did you not see the video?
Bro, they call that a water something. What was the name? Did you guys see that on Twitter? That was a
Yeah,
water something. I forget the
yeah,
name.
but Nelson, you gotta understand, man.
Yeah,
They don't right
yeah,
now. It's a lot more important for Israel to get their get the mission done than to try to fight. You know, even though they're fighting the PR game and campaign, and yes, everybody wants to get everything out quickly, and I'm sure they want to do it also. But there's a lot more that's involved. When we talk tunnel systems, you gotta understand they have to clear it before they could videotape it. Just because they got into the hospital, one part of the hospital, doesn't mean that they found all the tunnels, entrances, and even if they found a tunnel entrance, you know what it takes to go in there? I mean, it's not just open up the tunnel and let's all go in with video cameras and tape it. They have to make sure that they clear it, to make sure that there's no hostages, to make sure there's no fighters there. Once that's done, that doesn't take
But
1 hour.
that's not even the real reason, Nelson. The real reason is what I said. It's operational security. With respect, I know you said every day that goes by, they don't care. Israel doesn't care. Every day goes by what you think. They don't care what I think. What they're worried about is if you put yourself in the IDF spot. Hamas is watching the same TV you're watching, and if they see, oh shoot, the Israelis found the entrance under the MRI room. Okay, we better let's move the hostages here, right? So what they want to do is they want to keep them on their toes. They don't want to let up what they know. So I suspect maybe could have been better messaging from them. They could have said, listen, when we get there, we have to do what we need to do, and we'll let you know when you can come down and check it out. As far as the terms, first of all, BBC is very problematic. BBC is still an organization that refuses to call Hamas a terrorist organization. Their own government that pays their bills calls Hamas a terrorist organization. The BBC doesn't. So most of the people on my side of the fence consider the BBC to be grossly biased in this matter. And when it came to the word command and control node, let me call out the BBC. Command and control node is a command center. There are command centers. There are probably 100 of them all over Gaza. So to say that it's not a much smaller node, it's not true. A node is a node. It's a command and control center. There is no debate on that one. And last comment I'll make about Jeremy Bowen, who's the top BBC reporter, he literally said maybe all the Kalashnikovs they found in a couple rooms was just the security detail. Usually security details don't have 50 grenades and ballistic plates to protect themselves from crazy
yeah,
patients.
yeah. You know, let me just say this too, Nelson. All right. First of all, let me just say this right here. I want to comment on something because I'm pro-Israeli, but you just said something. You know that the BBC refused to do. I guess call them a terrorist organization. I think they are a terrorist organization, so they're not on your side. That all or nothing. You know, that's the part that gets you guys in trouble. That make people like back away. Okay, because there's people that support you, but you like, if you don't support us fully, you don't support us. And okay, I don't support you. So that when you just said that right there, that actually rubbed me the wrong way. I'm just letting you know. All right. Secondly, the fact that they found a body, one of the hostages'
Who you
body at the
talking to? You
hospital.
talking to me?
No, the gentleman that just spoke. You didn't say. You
Oh.
yeah, yeah. The
I
gentleman.
was wondering, bro. I thought you got dropped on the head this morning, bro.
No,
I was wondering.
no,
I'm saying,
no.
I
I
was
didn't
trying to
say that.
make sure you're okay, dog. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
no. The gentleman that just spoke
Was it
said that the
coming at
BBC.
me?
Well, I do 1 second. The gentleman said the BBC refuses to call it Hamas a terrorist organization, which their own government does, where they get their funding from. Makes us see them as they're on the other side. It's rhetoric like that says you have to agree with us 100% or not, or you're opposite. You're opposite of us. Okay, it's rhetoric like that sends people to the other side. All right, and so I just want to put that out there. But let me just say this right here: the fact that they found a hostage body at that hospital now tells us that those hostages was held there at one point in time. All right, because you don't just take bodies around, carry bodies around. Okay, they got up and left that body there. So I still believe that was a command center. I also believe that Israel will be producing more and more evidence as time comes. But let me just say this right here: that what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to put out all the evidence and tell everybody like, hey, we're right on your ass. You're not. Everyone's saying, hey, this is not a television show. You guys thinking like we're looking at an episode of Homeland or some shit like that. We're not. This is real life. This is real life, and lives are involved here. Hostages' lives, IDF soldiers' lives, civilian lives are all involved in this. And you guys like, give us real time information right now. We want it. If you don't give it to us, we're gonna start saying that this is not real. That I think is the most irrational thing that can be done.
And I think that's where Israel puts themselves in the corner because I agree with you, Jonathan. I don't think they should have shown any video until they got the operation done. I don't think they should be rushing to show video clips and try and fight the propaganda war. I think they should be concentrated on getting the mission done and then showing the evidence. and then that's the problem, because of the information and the social media and everything that's going on. They're trying to fight a war on two fronts, not only on the battlefield but also on the information. They get themselves in shit. Like,
Yeah, and look,
so Jonathan addressed me. Jonathan addressed me. I just want to circle back to Jonathan about the BBC. So I disagree with you 100% on that issue, and I'll tell you why. The BBC, it's not. I'm not saying the BBC can criticize Israel, and it does all the time. I haven't said a word about that. The BBC blames Israel for most stuff. I didn't say a word about it. But no, language counts, right? So the BBC has referred to the individual who attacked people on the bridge and stabbed them. They called him a terrorist. They referred to the guy who bombed a Ariana Grande concert in Manchester. They called him a terrorist. They use the word terrorist all the time. They just never use it with Hamas, and that's what's really strange. And that's what people, especially the Jewish community in the UK, notice. So it's like, if you never used it, I'm with you, Jonathan. I'm with you. But if you pick and choose when to use it, and you can't look, they did not call the people that killed 1,400 people, murdered, raped, put babies in an oven. They did not call them terrorists. They refused to call them terrorists. They cited their editorial policy. Other people called them out and said, whoa, 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 whoa. One crazy British guy stabs 3 people on a bridge in London. You called him a terrorist. Another guy blows up a Ariana Grande concert. You called him a terrorist. You use that word. You call the IRA terrorists, but you don't call Hamas terrorists. So I'm not asking them to do something different than they've already done, Jonathan. I'm asking them to be consistent. That's what I'm saying. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, Nelson, because you're saying being consistent, man. In terms of people have different struggles, man. African Americans have their own struggle, and they talk about the race card or all that other stuff. Man, I think organizations should have the right to decide, when that word's applicable. Now, I certainly agree that this is an act of terrorism. But what I'm saying to you is, when you're telling me, when you guys were saying that, hey, you know what? The fact that they haven't used this, they haven't called him a terrorist or whatever, they're not on our side. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a whole bunch of people out there that's watching this, that's trying to figure this out. Okay, that agrees that it may have been an act of terrorism, that agrees that it was an egregious act, but also feels like, hey, there's some things that happen on the Palestinian side. All right. And so they're trying to figure this out, and where they fit in. And when you guys are saying everyone's against you, are now saying, hey, if you don't do this, then you're not on our side. Okay, you're on the other side. And that's exactly what you said. They're on the other side of this.
Yeah, no, they're not on the other side. But Jonathan, what again?
But that was your words. Those were your words.
What I'm saying, no. I want them to be consistent. They use that term. They called Osama bin Laden
I understand,
terrorist.
but those were your
They call
words.
people. No, I'm calling them out on their own editorial policy. They use that term to describe terrorists. They're not using it for Hamas. It makes me wonder why.
But Yehuda, is that, in my opinion, right? I don't think that's the point, right? They put this, clip out today. They did this segment on, the SHIFA hospital, the videos, et cetera, et cetera. They did it today. And based off of what they put out in that video, which I just streamed on a stage, they highlighted a number of inconsistencies with the IDF, right? So the IDF said that video was a one take, right? It wasn't edited. In the BBC segment, they highlight a certain area in the video, which clearly showed it was edited, right? In the IDF video, one of the scenes, they were pointing at one AK-47 on the ground. When the BBC got there a couple hours later, they found 2, right? And the excuse from the IDF was, oh, we just found some extra weapons in the building, so we just kept it, there or whatever, right?
But Nelson, you accept that's a decent explanation, right? Like, if you're in a building and you're clearing it,
but
and you
there was
one weapon, you stack them together.
But the point was, there were multiple things that they highlighted, and if you remember in the first video, the IDF said that they didn't touch anything. The initial video they released,
they said they didn't edit, so it could have been 2 videos spliced together. Look, I never saw the video, so I can't even talk about it. So I won't.
That's why they kept the stuff behind the MRI machine. They didn't touch it, right? Because the video was made to seem like, hey, we haven't touched anything come take a look at what we found so
Sure,
far.
I'm tracking. Yeah, they could have made.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. I feel you.
Those
I
are
agree.
inconsistencies.
Yeah, for sure. And at the end of the day, again, they're not a polished media organization. They're an army with a public affairs department. So all I'm saying to those who a question mark has been put on this, just wait. Like everything. Look, there were people that said there was no weapons there. There were no terrorists there. We know there that we saw videos of terrorists leaving the hospital, firing an RPG and running back. But remember, if you rewind a week before then, Nelson, you had people up here saying there were no terrorists anywhere near the hospital. Every time they make a claim, just give it a week or two. It's going to come out. I promise you, brother.
Nelson, this video is messed up. I'm with you there, but we're focusing on it way too much. Okay, so did we think that the Israeli forces were going to go into a tunnel and see a sign that said, "Oh, headquarters for Hamas"? Like Jonathan said, this isn't. Hold on, I'm with you. But I'm with you.
But now, check this out real quick. Just real quick, right? Here's a problem that I'm having with it though. The first hospital that they got to, they put out a video in under 24 hours about that tunnel. Under 24 hours. They invited CNN the next day to come do a segment on it.
Again,
they were quick they were quick to broadcast that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Right? So for us to be in a situation now with how SHIFA, and it's been a number of days, and now we're saying, oh, they want to take their time. It just doesn't make sense,
Nelson,
right?
The
pattern doesn't flow, is what I'm trying to say.
No, that's fair. But we got to remember too that it's not, if Israel went into Gaza under the only reason they went in was to go to the Al-Shifa hospital, like this was a W&D moment, then this would be a huge event. But we have to remember the reason they're in Gaza is because of the October 7th event. It's not because of the Al-Shifa hospital. Now, there's a hypothesis that there's a command structure under the Al-Shifa hospital, but that's not the reason they're in Gaza. I think people are kind of conflating this like this is a WMD moment, and it's not. Like it's the idea shouldn't be taken at their word at all. I don't take them at their word. I don't take anybody at their word. I got to see evidence. So this is an example of that where, okay, you guys said something and we got to see proof of it. And until we see proof of it, we're not going to believe you. But at the same time, people are starting to say, oh, this completely breaks down their whole reason for even being in Gaza. Like, that's bullshit. Like, come on. Like, just because they didn't find what we're looking for in one location, it doesn't take away their justification for being in Gaza. Or show us. Okay, exactly. It is too early to tell. There's going to be
Nelson. So you know how you're going to tell. You know how you're going to tell. You're going to tell when they show you the following. Sorry, Yusuf, your mic. Nelson, you've got since the war began, it's 40 days. So Hamas for 40. As soon as Israel kicked off and said we are going in, I guarantee you, any hostages or any important stuff that was there would have been moved. I said this on this space or a couple of other spaces 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. I said, listen, they're going to get there. It's going to be empty, but there's going to be things that are going to tell you what it was. They could even move computers, but there's the servicing, the electrical panels, the oxygen, the backup generators. You're going to see by the infrastructure that this place was more than just a bunch of tunnels, right? Like, you're going to know from the size of the corridors and the turning radiuses where rockets can come up out of. You're going to ask yourself, why was that built like that? Do you see what I'm getting at? So I suspect all their weapons, as many as they could carry, they had 40 days, bro. 40 days to move an entire arsenal is more than enough. I think when you look at the corners of those tunnels, when they send those cameras down, believe you me, in 2-3 weeks, in a month, whenever you see them, think of my voice and look up and look at the sides on the top right and the top left of those tunnels. You're going to see cabling. Okay, you're going to see Cat 5, Cat 6 extensions. You're going to see all sorts of stuff. And if it was just a tunnel, you're going to ask, why on earth was it serviced to the hilt? Right, and that would tell me from a military perspective, when you have different types of headquarters. You have main control command posts, you have tactical, you have mobile, you have different types of things. I suspect that they did their best to move their stuff out, and they knew the Israelis were coming. It wasn't to prove to the world that the Israelis were wrong. They did it to get their assets out. They wanted to move that. And I suspect they did have hostages there, but I don't think they would. Now, another comment someone made was that people don't move dead bodies. You don't know the history of the Middle East. A dead Jew to Hamas is worth a lot. They've traded hundreds of terrorists in jail for a dead body. So they actually would move dead bodies around it. It's gross to say, but they have. I suspect they were there at Al Shifa. I suspect either they were killed or they died. But look at the tunnels. Just be fair. Look at the tunnels when you see them, and look at the size. Look at the type of infrastructure, the paneling, the panels, electrical panels, the life support systems, the telecommunication systems, and then ask yourself, does this look like it was just a bunker? And that's your answer, bud.
No, for sure, for sure. Let me go to some of these hands. We got a lot of people trying to get on stage. Real quick,
Nelson,
guys. Once again, welcome to the show, man. You're rocking out with Nelson Epega, Jonathan Bain. We got Tally, Yehuda, goddamn Lev, fucking Yusuf about to jump in with some bullshit in 5 seconds. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit the chat feature at the bottom right corner of the space, retweet the space, repost it. And I just pinned a tweet at the very top regarding something the former Israeli prime minister had to say. And I definitely want us to have a conversation about that. But that being said, let me go to some of these hands real quick. Let me go to Abdul. Abdul, let's talk about it, man. What's the deal? What's the deal?
What's up, Nelson? Nelson, how you doing, bro? Listen, man, I just want to say thanks a lot for having this space. I know I'm going to take a little bit of time just because
How much
it's my
time?
first time. It's my first time speaking right now, but I'm the dude that when you had your real estate
Man,
space a while ago.
Are we supposed to give you an award for that, bro? Like, what's the deal?
No. So, bro, listen.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah. No, it's all good, bro. I got a 4-week-old baby daughter on my lap right now, sleeping. I've been attending your spaces since day one. She was born on October 13th. Real talk.
Oh,
but I have not been
man.
able to speak because, like, you know how it is with helping the wife out back and forth. So I never got to come on stage. I wanted to come on a stage a few times at the end of the night, but you were full and packed. So all I'm going to say, Nelson, I know you like to joke around, but because I've been on this space for 20 straight days, 2 minutes, I'm going to take about 20 minutes. Is that cool?
Take about
2 minutes
what?
per day, lost time times 20 days. Is that cool? I'm just
Hey,
playing.
bro. I mean, first and foremost, congratulations. With your newborn. That's first and foremost. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the chat right now and type congratulations to this gentleman over here. Congratulations, man. Kids are a blessing. So everybody, hit the chat feature bottom right corner, respond to the tweet of the space. Congratulations.
Thanks, Nelson. No. You a humble dude, bro.
No, you ain't done yet, bro. Secondly, 20 fucking minutes.
I'm just messing with you, bro.
I mean,
you got to pay for that.
Listen, bro,
20
I was just saying,
minutes.
I was talking about lost time because I got a lot to say, bro. I got a lot to say from the Islamophobia stuff to the other space. I remember all those spaces, bro. It's all my memory. I got a photographic memory.
Let's focus on the topic for this one.
No, I know. But listen, bro, I was just talking about I had that question when you had Cindy on once upon a time about the real estate stuff, no interest loans or whatever. I'm that dude, if you remember, a long time ago.
Man, it's a lot of dudes, man. A lot of people, bro. I can't.
Okay. I was just letting you know. I had asked about if your project does
Trust
investment
me,
with no interest or whatever.
I would never be able to remember, bro. It's too many people.
Oh, okay.
Bro.
Okay, it's all
but
good, man. I just still remember speaking to you and Cindy. You know what I'm saying about that question about real estate when you had those real estate spaces, which you got to bring back, by the way. So
for sure.
So, anyways, listen, man. I was just saying, I kind of I'm taking your kind of line in terms of what the BBC said. I agree with you. I don't want to get into the history. Everything's been discussed already and stuff like that. But I'm kind of just saying that, the IDF, kind of let the public down if that's the case. I'm a Muslim, so I have certain beliefs theologically, epistemologically that, about Palestine and the Holy Land. We're not going to, I don't want to make a religious debate or whatever. But I just wanted to point out that I do agree that it is a failed raid. But Yehuda, respectfully, he said that, wait and see. We'll wait and see. I'm not trying to debate nobody or whatever. I got a baby sleeping right here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to keep it down. But all I wanted to say, Nelson, is that, as an American, I think, we can take this a further notch. We have different people, different international people here, people from different countries. But real talk, the reality is that I'm an anti-interventionist, no war, America first type of guy. I feel like, we have so many issues going on in America, our infrastructure, all that stuff. We don't need Congress spending money to support any country, whether it be Ukraine,
Right.
Israel, whatever it may be. You get what I'm saying? That's where I kind of draw the line. I was like, you know what, America first. You know, I'm an immigrant. I'm a first generation. My whole family, every single one of my family members, brothers, siblings, educated. You know, I'm South Asian, Pakistani. Culturally, you know, we got the best food in the world. That's a fact. You know,
Okay, shout out to
biryani
that.
and butter chicken. We can talk about that.
Right.
I think that's Indian,
But
brother.
what's up?
I think that's Indian. You're going to start a cultural
Man,
appropriation
Abdul, we got to
war.
land that goddamn plane, bro. You
Okay,
taking me on a trip to the Middle East right now, my brother.
listen. I'll land that plane. I was gonna say, Nelson. So I'm gonna wrap up with this. Basically, I'm a little bit nervous. I'll be honest with you, just speaking because
It's
it's my
all
first time
good,
being on
bro.
stage.
It's all good, man. Listen, just say "let's talk about it" 3 times. You'll be good. I promise you. Go ahead.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
So I was just wrapping up. Essentially that sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Essentially
God
that.
Damn, bro, you having a brain fart after "let's talk about it"? Come on, man.
Listen, I'm worried about my baby daughter waking up because she was up all night. I'm having a wife take her. You hear her crying?
Shit, you fucked up, man. Now she needs some milk.
Listen. Sorry.
You gotta go hook her up, man. You gotta go hook her up.
He needs some milk. He needs some milk.
Go get some goddamn milk,
the wife was
man.
kind
Come
enough.
on.
So listen, Nelson. I was just gonna say, long story short, is you know, we can take this, and if you want, as the debate goes on, I don't know how long I'll be able to stay on or whatever. We can talk about free speech rights being infringed upon in America with the pro-Israel lobby, for example. You know, we have many Jewish journalists that are talking about, you know, calling for a ceasefire, Jewish voice for peace. I'm not even talking about Palestinians. You know what I'm talking? I'm talking about Jewish journalists, Max Blumenthal, Dan Cohen. You know, so and I know Yehuda.
100%.
And so I would say follow those people that are Jewish, that are speaking the truth, not necessarily listen to Palestinians or Muslims or whatever, because if there is some objectivity, we want to talk about people that actually know there, been there. Dan Cohen's been to Gaza. So I'm going to land the plane, Nelson. If I get an opportunity, I do spoken word poetry. I wrote a poem about Palestine 20 years ago when shit popped off.
Don't worry, we're going to hear it in the next space, 100%. Looking forward to
So I just wanted to mention that. That's what I do on the can. I got a lot to share, a lot of thoughts. And if you want to talk about sports, I'm the only dude on here that is a Cardinals fan, the #1 baseball team in the country.
Bro, we gotta land the plane, bro. I appreciate you, man. Love you, bro. Shout out to my guy, man. Let's talk about it.
He should focus on his child. That's more important, because what he just said didn't.
Let's talk about it. All right, my man, my brother. Let's go. Yehuda. Yehuda, jump in, bro. Let's go.
Jesus, Murphy, man. Hey, I'm a nice guy. Listen, Hazak Baruch and Mabruk Aleik to this guy for his child. And I hope he has a great time. He has a lot of time to listen to us debunk him as he's taking care of his child. I can't believe what I just heard. There's Max Blumenthal. He has a Jewish name, therefore he speaks the truth because he agrees with me. Listen, if you want to pick out the 2% of the Jewish community that agree with you, great, go for it. They don't represent Jews. You could disagree with our position, but do us a favor, stop pretending. Don't put our, Candace Owens or Jesse Peterson's, Jesse Lee Peterson's as representatives of our community when they're not. Okay, they're a fringe group.
Yehuda, there's a word for them too. It's called
I'm not going to use that word.
Tokenization, and it's not acceptable in any other circumstance. So I don't understand why it's acceptable for people to tokenize Jews that agree with them when it's
JVP, Jewish Voices for Peace. They have independent.
Man, tokenizing Jews. We got Jews on the blockchain.
No, we got people that call themselves Jews, and they say, as a Jew, I believe Israel's evil. Meanwhile, like their third cousin's friend's dog was Jewish, and then they're Jewish now. So there was a group in Canada that tried doing that, and I got their flyer and I emailed them on a burner email, and I said, "Can I join your group?" He goes, "Yes," but I'm a question. I'm not Jewish. He goes, "That's fine. Most of us aren't." And I'm like, I'm a Somali black Muslim. That's okay. And they're like, yeah, that's great. But there's only one Jewish person in our group. I was like, oh my God. So Jewish Voices for Peace, all of these people have a very tenuous connection to Judaism. It's like, And why I'm saying it is that they can be Jewish and hate Israel, but you're not the representative. You should be saying, listen, I'm Jewish. However, I'm literally a fringe group. Most people don't agree with me at all. So to use the argument that there are quote unquote Jewish people or people with Jewish names that support your perspective, therefore you're right, is a really crap argument. You should get a better one. Thanks, Nelson.
How about don't speak for anyone but yourself?
Yeah, and it's also
that works.
that like the Jews that are against Israel are the good Jews, and the Jews that are for Israel are the bad Jews. Like, come on.
Hey man, good and bad, black and white. TOC. Let me get one mic on TOC. TOC, break it down for me, man. SHIFA Hospital, bro. I mean, what are your thoughts, my brother? What are your thoughts so far?
All right, here we go. It's time for the bullshit, Nelson. So, basically, look, it's not failed yet, right?
TOC, it looks like he's a listener.
He's speaking. Sabrina, I'm going to toss you down, bring you back up. Go ahead, TLC. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not a failed raid yet, I wouldn't say, because there could be stuff that comes out later. What is clearly failed up to this point is the propaganda that the IDF is clearly trying to put out. Like this is a failed agenda. Like they're trying almost too hard at this point to kind of make us believe that actually this much slaughter of civilians is justified, right? Because that's what they're trying to do to the Western media, because they're losing that kind of argument in Western media now. There's a lot more tougher questions, and I wouldn't actually take my words from Mark Regev, because literally a couple of nights ago he said Israel hasn't killed any Palestinian children in this war yet. So I wouldn't exactly take him as the beacon of speech in this, even on this raid and what's going to happen going forward. Because he's, clearly a bit deluded now, but also the ambassador to the UK the other day said, so far the people we've killed is 50% of them have been, Hamas fighters. Over 50% of the civilians' death apparently is Hamas fighters. So there's a bit of delusion with reality, I think, from what the.
So what's the number to you? What's the number to you?
90%. I don't know what the number to me is. What I think what we need to focus on is the numbers in the previous kind of conflicts, and the numbers of the IDF matched very closely with Hamas numbers in the previous ones that they've had. So it was literally off by like 100, let's say, and those times it was 2,100 to 2,200. So yeah, I think Mehdi did a really good job of showing that, because Mark Regev, your friend, made the same point.
Mehdi Hassan.
So yeah, so
the guy that called non-Muslims cattle and they should be treated as animals. That
guy? Let's debate the point. Let's debate the point and the facts. Let's not talk about personal attacks. It's not. I mean, he used.
I heard his khutbah. He gave a khutbah.
Let him finish, bro. Let him finish.
He used facts. He used IDF figures on the last deaths. He used Hamas figures on the last civilian deaths. And actually, what people are saying is there's even more dead because there's more people under the rubble that they even accounted for yet. So I think what they're trying to do now is really justify that with this raid. They're doing a horrible job at it, and it's not going to get any better. Even if they show like the actual tunnels. It has to be something really comprehensive to say, like, look, these tactics have worked in us killing this many civilians, right? Because what we're seeing now, okay, even if there is tunnels, if they show those tunnels, if they're intact, like, what the hell have these guys been bombing? They've been literally bombing just civilian homes up to now. If they've been bombing in and around the hospitals to...
Wait, so are you talking about tunnels in general or tunnels around the hospital? Because they're not...
Tunnels around the hospitals, because they've been bombing around the hospitals, haven't they?
Why are there tunnels everywhere? Why?
No, let me just make my point. So you guys have been bombing. I mean, Israel has been bombing these tunnels for weeks now. They've dropped so much munition on them. But, they're either not found, or even when they are found... like the last one we have seen is they're completely intact. So it's like, what have you been bombing around these hospitals is literally civilian infrastructure and civilians. Like, that's what you've been doing. There hasn't been any military aim to it so far. They haven't got the hostages. They're not even close to getting the hostages. All they're finding is dead hostages. It's like this government is now not only a threat to civilians in Palestine, they're a threat to these hostages themselves. And Israelis are protesting on the street saying, No, not enough. Like, don't use this fucking bombing campaign because they're going to kill those hostages.
So it's the Israelis' fault they haven't found hostages yet. And if the Al-Shifa hospital was level to the ground and they didn't find tunnels, that would be different. But as far as I understand, it's still standing, right?
No, but all the civilian infrastructure around it is completely demolished, according to the CNN reports that have been there up to now. Everything civilian around the area, and even the CNN commentator asked the IDF in the last interview with the first tunnel where they showed underneath the hospital. He said, but this much destruction around it? And he was like, yeah, Hamas makes it really hard for us. You know, he kind of stuttered a little bit because I don't think he was expecting the question. But it's kind of like, my point is your tactics clearly up to now have only caused carnage for civilians.
Wait 2 weeks. Wait 2 weeks, brother. Wait 2 weeks.
And not only that, but you've put your own hostages at risk. You've put your own hostages at risk, and now your politicians are coming up with
Hamas.
And now you're putting.
Come on, be honest.
And now,
who took the hostages? Who took the 10-month-old baby? Israel? Give your head a shake.
No. Yeah, of course Hamas did. I'm not denying that. We're not here to debate that. We're not.
Who's responsible for the hostages?
But it's kind of like of course your government is, because you're responsible for making sure that no more Israelis die in this as well.
Hamas steals people and babies, and Israel's responsible. Okay, I like it. All right, cool story, bro.
Yeah, but it's like saying the Israeli government was responsible for October the 7th. Then it's kind of the same fucking argument, isn't it?
Why would
it's like saying, oh yeah, this is what happened. You know, it's kind of the same people who make that argument.
Listen. Go back to Middle Earth, wherever in Lord of the Rings you live, because I think that's your reality.
No, it's not my reality. It's like Hamas is responsible for all the deaths of these civilians, right? Even in Gaza. But it's like the civilians that died in Israel,
and the hostages,
and the civilians that died in Israel on October 7th. Is your government not responsible for that? Like, what?
Can you point to the military infrastructure in Gaza where Hamas is stationed?
Hey,
everything's killer.
Raise your hand, please.
Dr. Abdul, jump in. What are your thoughts?
Thank you so much. Yehuda, I've known Yehuda for so long from the other space when it comes to Ukraine. Yehuda, it's really disappointing to hear that the lack of compassion from your voice, from the atrocities that we're seeing in Gaza. The compassion that you have for the Ukrainians, and rightfully so. What the Russians have been doing in Ukraine are war crimes. But the thing is that not only have they not found the headquarters that we were told to, I really believe that there was a headquarters there in Al-Shifa, but all they have done is terrorize the doctors, the nurses, prevent fuel to fuel the incubators for premature babies. And now I hear that the former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, I think that's his name, now he's saying that they're all in southern Gaza. So now the conflict is going to move there, the aerial bombardment of southern Gaza. So what's going to happen? So the likelihood is that people are going to flood to Egypt, into the Sinai. And what's that going to create?
That's going to create an Arab war.
They're
Yeah.
not going to
That's exactly right. Let me finish, please. Yeah, let me finish. So the thing is that there was one of the embedded journalists from CNN, Robinson, I think that's his name. He has almost 30 years reporting from conflict areas. He said that the level of destruction he has seen in northern Gaza, he has never seen it ever, whether Iraq or Afghanistan. So this is we have to believe what the ministers, the Israeli ministers, are saying. We have to believe what they're saying, that this is a collective punishment. This is not a targeting of all the leadership, the main leadership. They're all high. They're not there. Where are they? What have you been bombing all this, killing innocent babies and children? 50% of the population in Gaza is children. What is the humanity? Where's the compassion?
Ask Hamas.
I agree that we need to go after. Listen, I agree that we need to go after Hamas. But what is this? What the level of killing? It's unfortunate, Yehuda. We have to be honest.
Abdullah, every dead Palestinian is the fault of Hamas today. Period. Stop. They're the ones that started it. You don't start something if you can't finish it. Number one, they're responsible. They launched the murderous pogrom. that murdered 1,400 people. The
Yehuda,
Israelis told
not just but what
So
about
there we
20,000
go. So
missiles?
there we
What
go.
about
There we
20,000
go. That's
missiles?
good. That's good that you admitted that this is a collective punishment. Thank you so
I've
much.
never admitted that. You could believe what you want. The reality is that Israel is destroying Hamas. Hamas does not.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Where's the headquarters? Where's the Pentagon?
Oh, what do you mean? Because I just said to you, wait 2 weeks. Wait 2 weeks. Why are you so impatient?
2 weeks. 2 weeks
2 weeks
for what?
For the cameras to go into the tunnels.
Why don't we invite international observers?
Listen.
Why don't we invite the EU and the US? Objective observers.
What do you mean invite them? They're fighting door to door. Are you guys nuts? I mean, for people who've never been in an army, you have never been in the military. Are you a doctor? You're an MD, right? You're an MD. Imagine I said to you, Abdullah, I don't really care what you say because I Googled cancer and I have it in my ear. And it's because I have a headache and I know what I'm talking about because I Googled it. I see with my own eyes. You got to stop. You're not an expert.
Don't go, Yehuda, with all due respect, don't go into tangents.
It's not a tangent. I'm demonstrating this isn't your wheelhouse.
Listen,
you don't know what you're talking about.
You have to trust the humanitarian organizations.
I don't.
The EU,
They're not there.
even the U.S. government is admitting that there is an unacceptable
even the U.S. government
level
said
of
it is a
humanitarian
command and control node for Hamas.
Yes, and we also believe the WMDs in Iraq as well.
So wait, so you believe them? Hold on. You believe them when it suits you, but you don't believe them when it doesn't suit you. I get it.
What do you mean? Say that again.
You believe you want to quote the United States when it suits you, but when it doesn't suit you, you say that they're not right.
No, please don't put words
in
my mouth. What I said is that no, because you're using the argument of the U.S. So the U.S. is saying that there's an unacceptable level of killing of Palestinians.
So why do you believe them there?
Civilians.
Why do you believe them there, but not when they say there's terror tunnels? Why?
What is the terror tunnels? We need evidence. We need evidence.
Dude, are you listening to my? You listen to my argument.
We have to believe Ehud Olmert. You know Ehud Olmert?
Ehud Olmert. You know what? I will quote.
You know what he said? You know what he said today?
I will quote what Ehud Olmert said. He said the main command and control center is in Khan Yunis. It didn't mean that there's nothing in Gaza City. Okay. Language doesn't matter to you.
That's not what the IDF said. Come on, Ehud.
No, Shifa Hospital is, and you will see a command and control center for Hamas. Full stop. They have two.
Yo, Yehuda, we gotta keep it real, bro. I mean, bro, for weeks it's been promoted as the headquarters of Hamas for weeks. Not a node, not a control center.
Thank you, Nelson.
The headquarters. I mean, come on. I've even said it. I've even said it multiple times on this stage because I got it from him.
Hey, let me ask. Hold on. I want to jump in because I think a lot of you guys are forgetting. I don't know if do you guys know what the hospital look like? Have you guys seen a diagram of the hospital? Because you guys think it's like a hospital here in America. Okay, it's not. That hospital is spread. It's like blocks long almost. It's like they have one.
It's a mile squared.
Yeah,
a mile squared, Jonathan.
Huh?
It's a mile square.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mile square. That's why. 1 second. They got the emergency room. They got the maternity room. They got different sections. It's a whole bunch of land. Okay, you guys are thinking
it's a complex. It's called
it is a complex. Exactly. You guys are sitting there trying to pretend like this will go in right fast and they come right out because it's a one building. It's a whole goddamn complex. So, this is crazy that you guys want instant gratification. It just doesn't work that way. And let me just say this right here, man. They're definitely there. Why the fuck would you find a hostage body on that fucking complex? There's no fucking reason for a hostage body to be on that complex.
That's news for me. Where did you get that news from? I haven't heard that yet.
Multiple hostages now, too. I think.
You should ask yourself why did they defend it? So
wait. Oh, 1 second. Hold on. 1 second. You guys are disputing that?
No, I'm not disputing it. I'm saying I haven't heard that news yet.
That came out yesterday. That's been out since yesterday. Early yesterday.
I heard that one. That's a fact.
They found a third, actually.
Yeah, they found a third one. A Tanzanian
my question is, where did they find them? Were they patients or were they what? Like, what was going on?
No, they weren't patients,
Patients. They were hostages. What do you mean?
Yeah, they walked in there to get their, teeth
Elective
done.
No,
surgery
I'm
was not
asking
a
where
day
were they
job.
Yeah,
found?
please,
Where were they
please, please,
found?
don't make fun of dead bodies. I'm just trying to
Lena, I want to
understand.
know your
Did
thoughts
they?
on
Did
this
they? Did they?
hostage thing because I know you're a
Yeah.
humanist. And
Listen, please. Yeah, just quick. Yeah. Do we know if if the hostages the bodies that they found, did they die in the hospital or were they already killed by Hamas before they arrived? Yeah,
Bro,
because
It's true.
why would
True
Hamas
talk.
walk around with bodies, man? That's bullshit.
it's a hospital.
How did
Hospital has
how
a
did the
morgue,
body
and
how,
Yehuda said that.
Dr.
And
Abdullah, how
Yehuda
did they
just
get there? How did
Well,
they
you
get
know
there?
what?
Yehuda
No,
no
I'm telling
How
you
did they
the truth.
get
Yehuda
there?
said
One mic,
Yehuda said that for
one mic,
Hamas dead
one
body is
mic,
very important.
one mic, one mic. I just want to say this because I mean, it's getting a little frustrating. Every time we speak about what's going on with Israel and IDF, you guys are show proof. Okay, but you motherfuckers don't show proof about any goddamn thing. You guys I don't know if the footage that you guys are putting out there are from this fucking attack or attack that happened 4 years ago. But all you guys talk about is proof, unless it comes to you guys. And we talk about these
That's
bodies.
not true, Jonathan.
That is true. That is fucking
No.
100% true.
Yesterday you were saying something else. Please. You're all over the place, my friend.
I wasn't here
Don't do
yesterday.
that.
I wasn't here yesterday, my friend.
I mean the day before, whatever. But
Dr.
No, I
Abdullah,
didn't say
how
it.
did the hostages get there if there's no Hamas fighters there? How the fuck did the hostages get to that hospital? How is there dead
That's
bodies
a
there?
fact. I mean, that's a fact. That's a good question.
Please. No need to swear. I'm trying to understand. I just ask you the question because Yehuda earlier said that for Hamas, dead bodies are very important to them in terms of exchanging with their prisoners.
Oh,
So I
that
was
is
just
also a
asking
fact.
the
Good
It is
question.
true.
counter.
Come on,
It
Good
is
man,
true.
counter.
Lev. No need
They
to
could have taken
swear.
those dead bodies.
Nelson, that means if they left the bodies, they had to get the hell up out of there. Okay, they had to get that.
It
That what do
actually
you mean?
means it was the command center because they brought
Exactly.
the
That means that they
bodies to the
had to get up
command
out
center
of
to
there, and they
train.
couldn't take the bodies
But
with them.
that's not how a
Bro,
command center works, Yehuda.
if it's the command center, okay, show us the motherfucking command center, bro.
It's
You
a
know what I'm
laptop.
saying? Like in the conversation, like let's see the goddamn, let's see the center. You
They
know what I'm
showed the
saying?
laptop.
Nelson, why are we
There was a
impatient?
laptop.
Let's wait.
Bro, the laptop, they had refuted it. They had taken that video off because they had accidentally showed that it was actually one of their IDF soldiers' laptops on there. And then they re-uploaded it with the blurred laptop on there.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
So
So
there was
just
some
kill.
CDs as
You
well.
know what?
It wasn't the IDF soldier's laptop. It was a laptop that had the IDF soldier image on it, which can probably and most likely is found there as evidence.
Wait,
This
so
is why
why
they
did they
blurred
blur
it.
it
They
then?
didn't plant it there.
Come on.
They didn't plant it there. Like, you guys just
Why get you
whatever
wait
you
2
get, they
weeks?
just tell you
One
That's
say,
why.
let's get
plant
one
it.
mic on Yam. Everybody mute
That's
out. One mic on Yam.
that's why we
Mute your
need
mic,
international.
doctor. Doctor, don't let me give you a surgical microphone procedure, my brother. Yam, let's talk about it, man. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is that anyone in doubt, please wait. They need to drill 8 floors into the ground at the moment and clear them out of whatever is in there. I don't think that anyone in Israel thought that after 4 weeks we would find so many things in Al Shifa when we get there. It was 100% for sure the command center of Hamas. And now, probably, they just move everything to the second base in Khan Yunis. And this is exactly how everything just clicks together with everything you hear from Israel. It is so obvious. It is so easy and so simple, the whole story. Anything, people just try to find doubts in every single thing. You wanted a tunnel, we drilled a tunnel, here's the tunnel. Now they say it's a water reservoir. Now they say it's an electrical cable. Just whatever you get, you say that we just plant there and we just fake it. And I don't understand, why would we do all of this in the first place? Why would we
We
just
can't,
plant all of this and just,
we
I don't understand.
as human beings, bro, we can't just sit down and accept all the information or evidence being thrown at us by anybody or any party, right? I mean,
Can I ask you a question?
one second, and I'm speaking for myself here as well, right, dude? I'm not a sheep. I'm not a sheep that's going to be fed information, and I'm just supposed to go with the narrative. Not at all. That's why I do these spaces, by the way, right? Where both sides get the debate and you get a well-rounded perspective in order to make, a conscious decision for yourself. That's how I operate, period. Right. And in this particular situation, this is the first time that the IDF have come out with something that I'm questioning like this. Right. It's the first time. And it's because I'm seeing the information from the other side. It's not the regular hoopla right now. It's not the regular bah-ha-ha bullshit like Dr. Abdul spills on a daily basis. This is completely different, right? And the BBC did a very, 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 I mean, their approach was spot on to where one could actually see the inconsistencies. You know what I'm saying? So we can't just sit here and act like, okay, the footage the IDF put out has zero and can absolutely. I'm not a fucking sheep. I'm not going to sit down here and lie to you, bro. I'm going to give it to you how I see it. Now, another thing that's making me scratch my goddamn head right now, the link up top, the tweet that I have at the very top of the page, right? Former Israeli PM. I saw this today, and it's making me scratch my fucking head even more. Listen to this. Listen to what he had to say.
We haven't yet come even to the heart of this operation. Khan Yunis, which is in the southern part of Gaza Strip, is the real headquarters of Hamas. They have the leadership, they are hiding, they have the bunkers, they have the command positions, they have the launching pads.
And it's interesting you say Khan Yunis is the command center, because for the past week we've heard the SHIFA hospital was the beating heart of Hamas, and yet we haven't seen the tunnels or the weaponry.
So you have seen the weaponry, you haven't seen the leaders. But look, I don't know. There are so many fake news. It's now part of life that everything is spread carelessly. Had you asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have told you that the center is really in Khan Yunis.
That's a problem for me right there, right? That's a problem for me right there. I mean, he's saying, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have told you that the headquarters, the center of Hamas, is in Khan Yunis. That's in the southern part of Gaza.
Why are we taking his word for it, though? Nelson,
left. I mean, this is a credible individual. This is the former Israeli prime minister, right? This guy was number one in Israel not too long ago. I mean, you goddamn right I'm going to take his word for it.
No, he was a long time ago. It was 10 years.
Whether it's 10 years, that's not the point.
No, but people
can... Guys, you got to let me finish. Let me finish what I'm saying, right? The point here is you have somebody, right, that had control of the goddamn nukes at some fucking point, right? You had somebody that had every level of clearance that you need when it comes to Israeli intelligence at some fucking point, and still probably does hold high clearance, right? You have a credible individual right here. You don't have a fucking Dr. Abdul. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have a credible individual. He's a former prime minister. And he's saying, hey, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have told you that the headquarters are in Khan Yunis. And he's saying that there's so much misinformation being spread around. He's technically saying that you do have some misinformation coming from Israel. He's technically saying that, right? Because so far in this war, we've all thought that the headquarters were underneath the goddamn Al-Shifa hospital. Now, I start thinking about the fact that we've sent, and when I say we, I'm talking about Israel, right? We've sent fucking, actually, I shouldn't say we because I'm not Israeli. Israel sent, let me finish talking, bro. You got to let me finish. Israel sent a shit ton of people to the southern part of Gaza, right? So are you telling me that after this siege of the north is done, we're moving to the north? Bro,
yes.
we're moving to the south. Bro, we've already blown the north to fucking smithereens. Where the fuck are the people going to go?
Thank you, Nelson.
Let me answer that.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
that's what I'm thinking in my goddamn head right now. Listen to the former prime minister.
Okay.
So this is the problem, right?
Let me jump in here, Nelson, because here's the deal. Because you guys are assuming that there's only one command post and one, okay?
Exactly.
So you guys, and the attacks that was happening up north was coming from the Al-Shifa hospital. Okay, you guys are thinking we got military bases all around. We have military bases in Kansas, California, Jersey, Florida, Georgia.
So just nuke the whole
thing.
Then.
Where is the Al-Shifa command center is where? We are not asking about 50 other command centers, man.
Show us Al-Shifa. Bro. Let Jonathan finish. Meet your mic, bro. Let Jonathan finish.
So all I'm saying to you is this right here. You're making an assumption that they only have one base. They have more than one base. I mean, and let me just say this also: they knew that Israel was coming, okay, and they knew that Israel was saying that
Yep.
that hospital. They knew that Israel was saying that that hospital was the base, a command center. So they had enough time to try to pull out as much as they can. But Israel will find. I believe they will find what the information is that they're looking for. I mean, and they will show it to us, okay? But they're going to do it in such a way that it doesn't provide a security risk to the people that's on the ground and or the hostages. That's what's going on here. So we
Let
got
me
John
respond to
Bing.
Let me
that real
jump
quick.
in, Nelson.
So let me,
Wait, Lena, just give me 1 second. I gotta go to Yehuda after this. Just give me
all right,
1
all right.
second. I'm gonna come to you after Yehuda. Jonathan, that's not the point though, right? Okay, I'm in agreement that that hospital was used as some sort of whatever at some point, and those guys had enough time to clear out, right? Say they've cleared out and they've gone to Khan Yunis, which is their original headquarters, right? My problem here is, dude, after this hospital, okay, and after everything they're doing in the north, in order to get rid of Hamas, which is Israel's prerogative, they're going to have to go south. Now, my thing here is, if they do go south, what the fuck is going to happen to all those innocent people? Where the fuck are they going to go?
To the Sinai. To
Let
the
me get you
Sinai.
that
That's
answer.
Bro,
Let
mute
me
your
give
mic,
you
bro, because I can't finish. Abdul, listen, bro. Like I said, doctor, if I will never be a patient of yours. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pay for all patients of yours to go have surgery elsewhere. You will talk those motherfuckers to death. I swear to God, you're a crazy motherfucker. Okay, so back to Jonathan, right? So, dude, if you've leveled the fuck out of the north already, you've already leveled that motherfucker out. Those people don't have homes in the north anymore. And now you want to go to the south to fucking Khan Yunis. Where the fuck are those people gonna go, bro?
I
That's my
agree.
question.
I
Where the
no, I
fuck are they
agree
gonna
with you.
go?
No,
And
listen.
you've already heard from the Arab states. If they start coming into their borders, they're launching a full-on war.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Motherfucker, I'm not ready for no goddamn full-on war, bro. Like the fuck?
I agree with you. I agree. I agree that
Lena, I'm next.
I agree. What's going to happen? If they start bombing the South? I think that would become a very big humanitarian issue, and I would have I think it would be very problematic. I think that if anything that happens in the South should be a ground incursion. I don't think that they should start bombarding it, because they start bombarding it, there would be nowhere to live. Right now, that CNN reporter, I saw that report. He said this is the worst he's ever seen. Every building that was in the north up there was damaged and destroyed.
Leveled, bro.
Every
Leveled.
building that's inhabitable,
Real shit.
and
Real
Israel
shit.
needs. Oh, I support
Let me
Israel.
get in there.
I support Israel, but Israel needs to be held responsible for rebuilding that fucking that area, because what they did was just horrible. Because not every building in there had Hamas people.
All right, I got to jump in there. I'm sorry. From a military perspective, what you're saying is a load of junk. I'm sorry. Let me say this. In northern Gaza, by the Palestinian Prime Minister's estimates today, he said 65,000 residents have been destroyed. Residences have been destroyed. 1 million people have left. That's not every house in Gaza. You're seeing pictures on the news that show certain
Northern
areas of
Gaza.
Gaza.
We said Northern Gaza, up there by
North,
that border.
I'm referring to northern
Yep.
Gaza. He says that 65,000 residences have been actually in total. He said 25,000. He said 22,000 were totally destroyed. 65 in total. 65,000, and then the remainder. Sorry, my math isn't so good. Another 43,000 have been partially destroyed. That means that there are another 900,000 residences that aren't destroyed. So I made a phone
So
call to a
each
friend.
resident has a house. Come on, what the fuck?
Residence.
Yeah, each resident has a. I know.
Residences,
No,
houses. So
no. Because you said
for
there's still so there's 1 million homes alone in northern Gaza, and there's only 2 million people in Gaza altogether. Get the fuck
no,
up out of here, bro.
you're not. You misunderstood me. You confused the word resident and residences, right? So they're in one home might live 20 people. So what the Palestinian Authority?
So
Correction.
if there's another 100,000 homes, if
What
there's
I'm
another
trying to
100,000,
tell you
if there's
is
100,000 homes and 20 people in one fucking home, okay, bro, you do the fucking math.
Dude, you're not
Do the
listening to
math.
me. I just said to you there are 65,000 residences that he says are destroyed. There were 1.1 to 1.2 million people that went to the south. So let me explain. This is all I had to tell you. I made a call to a friend of mine who's never been wrong on this topic, and I said to him,
Yeah, we don't know your fucking friend though.
1 second,
He's the
Jonathan.
he's the former
One mic
director
on
general.
Yehuda.
He's the former director general of the foreign ministry. How's that? So I said, "What's going on?" Because I have family there. Is this like? What is it? And he says, "All eyes are on Hezbollah in the north right now." I'm like, "What are you guys going to do to to Gaza?" And he says, "It's going to be about a month." And he called it like the next day, Sunday. He goes, "There'll be a month of bombardment to hit command and control nodes, ammo depots, fuel depots. Then the Israelis, he goes, we will bisect Gaza. We will go across Wadi Gaza and cut it in half. We will issue evacuation orders. We will go in, destroy Hamas in the north, and then he didn't say this, but I'm going to say it, a switcheroo. We're going to tell everyone in the south to go to the north, and we're going to rout out Hamas in the south." That's what he said. Now, this isn't my opinion. This is some inside baseball. Nelson, I should not be sharing this on a private space with only 20 listeners, but this is what I was told. And the funny thing is, everything he said has come to fruition. So I suspect that you're going to see Gazans after you're going to see probably about a month of clearing operations. You're going to see these tunnels exposed. Hearing people say, "Why aren't the videos there?" I have never. Sorry, should I stop?
Answer the question, dude.
I didn't hear a question, Dudette.
They asked, where are the people going to go? That's the question. If they're evacuating back to the north, where are they going to go?
They're going to go either back to their homes or to some kind of temporary accommodations.
To the homes that were demolished?
To the temporary accommodations that the Israelis will set up.
Rockets are still being fired by Hamas, by the way. So this could be ended if they just
hold on. To Lena, who quite vigorously asked, you don't have to yell at me. I can hear you just fine. I have really cool headphones. They're going to be brought back to the north. They will be accommodated. It's not impossible. The Israelis have made it clear that their main goal is to eradicate Hamas. Unless you think Hamas should live and be able to survive, you would agree with that proposition. So once we see, I suspect it's going to be about another month of clearing operations. You're going to see the Israelis go 8 tunnels. I think someone said here 8 floors down. It's a beehive or a hive or an anthill or whatever you want to call it of tunnels underneath. The tunnel network has not been exposed. Jonathan had it right. The Al-Shifa hospital is about a square mile of buildings, different buildings. It's not like a normal American hospital, which is like 10 stories tall. There might be 2 buildings. This is a hospital.
I don't know if you've worked in hospitals, but that's not true. I've worked in plenty of hospitals, and many of them are.
I've seen it. Enough already. You can just check it out on the internet. You don't have to believe me. The hospital is a large, sprawling complex. You're asking the Israelis after 3 days. So they've only now been in control of about half of Al-Shifa Hospital complex for about 3 days, and you're demanding, blueprints and pictures and videos and, a PowerPoint slide and tell us all about it. They're still fighting room to room. That's what's going on the ground right now. All I've said, and you know what? For everyone listening, you don't have to believe me. I hope you don't believe Lena, but guess what? You just wait 2 weeks. You're going to have the CNN people there. Al-Rantisi Hospital, Nelson pointed it out. Very good point. Nelson said, well, the other hospital, there was no one there. I suspect, based on what I see, Nelson, I suspect that Hamas vacated Al-Rantisi and they basically collected at Al-Shifa or another hospital, and they started to evacuate. So Al-Rantisi, the Israelis were able to get in there real quick. I think it was undefended, frankly, and that's why you saw those videos of Al-Rantisi. But Al-Shifa was a different story, and they had, as Jonathan said, they had 40 days to evacuate. They had 40 days to get out their weapons. They weren't removing their weapons so that CNN don't see them. They were removing their weapons so they could have them for later, right? So they're not doing it to impress you. They're doing it to preserve their operational capabilities. That's a military thing. And for those who keep saying, well, why aren't the Israelis doing this? Literally, as we speak, Israeli soldiers are going room to room, tunnel to tunnel. They don't want to die in the tunnels. They're literally going very, very methodically through these tunnels. And as Yam said, and as I agree, give it a couple of weeks, you're going to see everything that the Israelis were saying were true. And you know what? If not, Nelson, I will eat my hat. Nelson, I don't have a hat, but I will buy one and I will eat it. How's that?
Shit, I'm going to hook you up. Black Clover, man. Rocking them all day. Black Clover. By the way,
you have a hat, Yehuda.
I have
Real
a
quick,
big old
right?
Jew hat. I have a big old fedora. I wouldn't need it. It's too big.
Real quick, I want to ask the audience a question, right? So, listen, again, former Israeli prime minister, he's calling Khan Yunis as the center of all Hamas activities. That's where the leaders are, et cetera, et cetera. And it seems like this probably is the case. Now, that being said, is if Israel's prerogative is to exterminate Hamas, they're going to have to go south, right? And we already know that the people have already fled from north to south. Now, my question to you guys in the audience, and I want you all to respond by hitting the chat feature at the bottom right corner of the space and responding to the tweet of this space with your answer, right? My question is, what happens next? In your opinion, what happens next? Do the Gazans flee further south into the Egyptian borders? Do they go back to the north? What happens if they do go back to the north because it's all rubble, right? What happens next? I want to know what you think right now. So hit the chat feature, bottom right corner, respond to the tweet of this space with your answer, and I'm going to be reading some of those answers and possibly pinning some of them up to the top, right? Welcome to the space and welcome to the show. That being said, let me go to, definitely not Dr. Abdul. Let me go to Lena. Lena, let's talk about it.
So quickly, just one thing that I wanted to touch on is, yes, El Shifa is hands down the biggest hospital in Gaza. And if we've been to any major city, they are huge complexes. So we're saying about like the US hospitals. These hospitals in the US are multiple buildings with multiple wings and multiple departments that have even like external like sterile, corridors and all sorts of things. So Al Shifa being a huge complex sounds about on par with any other major hospital here in the U.S. That's one. Two, the question was,
what is that?
I was just saying, you're saying that Al Shifa is, it's a complex. I'm like, of course it's a complex. Of course it is. It's supposed to be.
How many U.S. hospitals are a mile squared? Come on.
Freaking the one that I work at is ginormous. Have you looked at UMass? Have you looked at Johns Hopkins? Have you looked at?
And what's the population there? Exactly.
Millions or hundreds of thousands of people.
Most of Al Shifa hospitals are
Yehuda,
two-story buildings.
let her finish, please. Yehuda, let her finish.
Right, I'm confused. It's the largest and main hospital with probably
I know
all the
you're
departments.
confused. It's obvious.
All right, are you done? They usually talk over
Yes.
women. Okay, I'm done with you. So, anyways, all I'm saying is that a huge hospital needs huge departments because you're having complex cases come into that type of hospital. So it's normal to have many departments, and instead of outsourcing your hospitals, you need to have that within your hospital so you save time, money, and you can manage complex patients without sending them out. That's why it's probably so big. That's just one. Number two, the problem is that you're saying that people are going to evacuate back up to the north, where there hasn't even been enough time to even establish field hospitals or field refugee camps or any of this. Like I said, I've worked with humanitarian groups. These things take at least minimum of 2 years to establish and to run blueprints and to even start. I know because I went to them and I've helped build them. So this is number two. Number three, the way that this is being done is completely unethical and unmoral. I understand what the Israeli government is trying to do, but that doesn't mean that they are allowed to just walk and gloss all over the Geneva Conventions, i.e., Article 12, the wounded and the sick shall be protected in all circumstances. The obligation to protect is complementary, and obligation to respect it requires parties of the conflict to take active steps to protect the wounded and sick from harm. That has been broken. Article 16 says military considerations should allow the party of the conflict to facilitate the steps to search for the killed and wounded. That's not happening either. Article 18 says civilian hospitals are organized to care for the wounded and sick, and the infirm and maternity cases may in no circumstances at all, the maternity and the infirm cases, should be respected and protected by parties of conflict. And number 20, these are just four. Persons regularly and solely engaged in the operation and administration of civilian hospitals, persons engaged in the search for, removal, and transporting of wounded and sick civilians, aka any and all hospital staff, should be respected and protected. That's not happening either.
You done? Can I jump in there? You made an outrageous
You
statement.
forgot the illegal white
Which you should
phosphorus.
be ashamed of. For illegal white phosphorus. Oh my God. Please, if you don't know the military, don't speak. It's so silly. Lena, it's funny. The Israeli Defense Forces sent a field hospital to Haiti in the wake of the earthquake. And do you know how long it took to set up a hospital which treated 500 patients? 24 hours. You said it took 2 years to set up a field hospital, and you said you've set them up. I'm going to
Not field
call
hospital, as in the entire field refugee camp, including things
What are you
for
saying?
permanent.
When was the last refugee field hospital camp you set up? Just
In
curious, because
Turkey
I'm going to call
back in
BS.
2015 with Orient for
And it
Human
took 2
Relief.
years? It took
What?
2 years? It took 2 years?
From start to finish, yes, to set up
What are you
permanent
talking about?
refugee
Where?
camps. Yes, it
Where?
took 2
Where?
years.
Where did you
Oh
do
my
this? Where?
God. Turkey
Where,
took 2
Lena?
years. She's still there now.
No, I'm not still there now. I'm from the USA.
Yeah, because you're making it up. It doesn't matter. What you're saying is nonsense. At the end of the day, the Israelis will provide, because they have to under international law, security and protection for the Palestinians of Gaza. You know what? That's more than Hamas has ever done for the Palestinian people. At the end of the day, you see Israelis providing covering fire for Palestinians fleeing the north. If you want to be on the side of the bad guys your whole life, no problem. No one cares. I said to you, wait 2 weeks.
Bad
You
guys.
will.
I'm telling. I'm not.
The bad
I'm not.
guys.
I'm not
Yeah,
disputing.
Hamas, bad
I'm not
guys.
disputing anything. I'm saying what we're
So
doing
why aren't
to
you
the
blaming
Palestinian
Hamas for every
civilians
death?
is
Why?
inhumane. That's all I'm saying.
Why aren't you blaming Hamas for the death of everyone in Gaza?
Oh my!
They're the ones
Because
on the
it's not
7th of
Hamas
October
that's destroying
who
these
attacked
buildings.
Israel first. How many Israeli soldiers were in Gaza on the 6th of October? I'll give you the answer,
You're
Lena.
glossing
0.
over the point. You're
I'm
glossing
glossing
over
over
my
the
point.
point. You
No,
are
you're glossing over
denying
my point.
reality. You are
I'm de-
supporting by omission terrorists and saying they're the good
by
guys
omission.
and Israel's the bad guys.
I'm
Yes.
not blaming. I'm
Shame on
coming
you.
from I've come from a humanitarian standpoint at all times in this space. And I've said only on 2 points do I ever talk against Islamophobia and against the unethical breaking of international law. I haven't been super, and I've told you guys since the beginning, I haven't been into the
But you don't talk
geopolitics.
about anti-Semitism. You don't
Nope,
talk
no
about. You know, you
anti-Semitism.
just
What
you
No
talk. You talk
anti-Semitism.
about
anti-Semitism?
as
Arabs are Semites. What are you talking about?
Anti-Semitism is the hatred of Jews. If you don't know that, read a book or use that browser, open it up, type into Google what anti-Semitism was coined by a Jew hater to mean Jew hatred. It doesn't mean Arabs. So stop playing.
The word
How did you
Semitic.
get it?
The word Semitic
Jesus,
refers
Murphy.
to a group of languages. It never has referred to a group of people. Arabic is one of those languages, but it doesn't refer to a group of people, the word Semitic. So that's totally irrelevant.
It's such a childlike argument. How are
Yeah,
you a
one
professional?
second now, one second, because right now we're being a bit ridiculous. Everyone knows what anti-Semitic means, but you guys want to change it up, and that's where you guys lose credibility when you guys start arguing shit like that. Okay, and then you say you go against breaking up international law, going into a sovereign nation, okay, with hang gliders and killing their citizens. That's something that breaks international law as well. So let's be real here. You can't say you're calling out shit when you really aren't. Okay, if you're biased, speak to your bias. I'm biased. I let people know I'm biased. That way, when I have that conversation, we can have the conversation, and they can respectfully argue with me at their points. But when you're sitting here saying I'm not biased, and you know you really are, that means that you're not looking to have your fucking mind changed anyway, because you're sitting up there and you're saying shit, and now you guys are arguing whether or not what anti-Semitic means. The whole fucking world knows what it means. But yet you guys are sitting there saying, no, that's not what it means. Okay, you
So,
win that
Jonathan,
fucking argument.
respect.
Now what?
Respect, Jonathan. So, argue the point. Don't call me anti-Semitic because I'm saying, oh, we're breaking Geneva Conventions. That don't make sense.
Well,
Lena, what did the Geneva
us Jews think you're
Conventions say
anti-Semitic,
about letting
frankly.
a hostage die in your captivity? What do the international laws say about letting hostages die?
Listen, in terms of the hostages, I completely am 100% on your side that they should 100% be released. Also, in the same breath, I can say the innocent civilian Palestinians should also not have to deal with the fact that this war, this conflict, this decimation of residential buildings, they are also being affected as the hostages are being affected. Yes, I call for the release of the hostages. Yes, I condemn the killing of innocent civilians. I condemn the paragliding into the music
Do
festival.
you really, though, Lena? Do you
Do I?
really? Can I ask you a question?
Why are you
Can I ask you a
questioning
question?
me?
Because I'll tell you why. 'Cause I
Yehuda,
looked at your
Yehuda,
profile.
you gotta let her finish, bro. You gotta let her finish.
Okay, I'll
I
let her
mean,
finish.
it's
Sorry,
like
sorry, my
3 or
bad, my
4
bad.
people pounding on her when she's talking.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. But when she's done, may I ask her something?
When she's
please?
done,
Thanks.
let her finish though. Lena, go ahead.
In terms of this conflict, we all want peace. We all want a solution. We all want these innocent people, these mothers, these fathers, these kids, these teenagers, these young men and women to stop dying. Nobody's happy. Not the people on the Israeli side, not the people on the Palestinian side, not the assholes here that that aren't getting bombed, arguing about it on X, right? We're not all happy about this. All I'm saying is that it pissed me off as a healthcare worker that doctors are not being protected. This is an issue. This is a problem. There's already a huge disparity in the healthcare field here and outside the United States, and we're not doing anything to protect that.
Yehuda, let's talk about it. Can you guys hear me? Am I good?
Yeah, I can hear you. I have a question for
I hear
Lena.
you.
That's not around.
Let me go to somebody. Let me go to somebody else real quick.
I'm here. I'm here to talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Jump in.
So imagine a bunch of yoga moms from Tel Aviv do some weird yoga presentation where they call for their kids to come back and their children to come back. Imagine what kind of sick person would write, how weird are these people, these Jews, wanting their people come back. And imagine being a registered nurse named Lena who likes the post, laughing and mocking Jews for trying to get their people back. So when Lena says she's not an anti-Semite because she's a Semite, I posted it in the chat there. Lena, do you often like posts from anti-Semites? Because I don't like posts from any anti-Muslim person because I'm not a disgusting human being. So when I see nonsense, I call it out. And you know what? I'm calling you out because and look in there, that's just one of them. That's a cursory examination of stuff you like. You like anti-Semitic shit. And you want to come up here and talk a game? Shame on you. I call you out because I call out bull crap.
You can call me out for being an anti-Semite all you want.
You're welcome.
I am anti-Zionist.
But you're not.
I am anti-corruption.
Anti-Zionist.
I am no.
You know what? Listen, Lena, Zena, Mina. You're mean. You're mean. Listen, Jews are 99% Zionists. Every Jew who believes in their faith, in their deen, supports the right of Israel to exist as a nation. And when you call out bullcrap and when you like racist people's posts, you make yourself look a fool. All right. So don't come up here and pretend you're some impartial. I'm just a registered nurse who makes up in refugee camps and hospitals in Turkey. You don't like Jews. We get it. I'm not a big fan of you, but it's not based on your religion. It's based on your crappy personality.
You can call me crappy personality. You can call me anti-Jew.
I already did.
You can call me anti-Semite. That's fine. That's your opinion.
Well,
I know what I believe. I'm not going to tell
you.
What?
Shame on you.
Okay, and shame on you for being an Islamophobe who supports a corrupted government.
I love it. I love every good person in this world. And we bring up Murad. Let's talk about Islam because I guarantee you he's going to school you on Islam. And I'll tell you one thing.
On Islam.
100%. I'd school you on Islam.
Right. That's why you go for personal attacks rather than
Listen, I call out racist. I call out bigotry. I call out hypocrites. Munafiq. You know what munafiq means?
I support the state of Israel. That's why I'm.
Because you mock Jews.
What?
Check it out. Check it out in the chat there. A lot of people are sending me your tweets and your posts.
Fine.
You're not a very nice person.
Fine.
You're not a nice person. Okay, so you're biased. You like terror.
I like terror.
Love you.
No, I just don't like corrupt government. There's not one single one of my tweets that goes and attacks Jews or says that Israel shouldn't exist.
It's in the chat. It's in the chat, Lena. It's in the chat, Lena. It's in the chat. By all means. So I like terrorists.
All right, guys, we got to get off this train, man. We got a show to run. All right, let me go to Susan. Susan, jump in. Let's talk about it.
I'm not even sure if I can, continue with that dialogue there. The thing with me is this is what's so like Yehuda claims like hypocrisy, right? So I want to know what Yehuda's take is on really like the Israeli government, to completely different like thing here. What his take is on the Israeli government sending military equipment to Azerbaijan to help annihilate Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh and in Armenia diaspora. So are you on board with that, or because that has absolutely nothing to do with the Palestinians? So I'm not happy about that. Does that make me an anti-Semite? Because I love my Jewish friends, I just abhor what the Israeli government's doing to my people. So I don't know. Can you speak to that?
Sure can, actually. We just had this conversation today. So you're asking, why did Israel sell weapons to Azerbaijan 10 years ago? Okay.
No, it wasn't 10 years ago. It was like more
It
like,
was actually
no, it
10 years
wasn't. It
ago.
was more like 2-3 years ago. And
It was 10. First of all,
they continue sending military equipment.
that,
Nice try. I
you
like how
asked me a question.
I love how you dance around words, and I love how you
I dance
overspeak
around
on
words.
people. Yes, you do.
Google
Yes,
it.
you
Google
do.
it.
And you're
Google
belligerent.
it.
And I want you to
I'm
and you
belligerent.
dance
I'm
around
belligerent.
the actual
Belligerent, you
problem.
mean?
So the problem is that Israel continues to send military equipment to another authoritarian state, like a loony bin fascist like government, to annihilate innocent
You
Christians.
calling Muslims loony bins?
I'm calling Azerbaijan loony bins. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Well,
they
listen.
are.
So
No, they are.
what you don't know because you don't know enough
I
is
know
that
plenty,
Israel
sir.
actually.
I know plenty. I'm almost
Please.
50 years old. I
Okay.
know plenty. I don't need you to speak for me.
I'm
I
almost
don't need
52. Oh
you to
my
speak
God.
for me.
Hey,
I don't
one
need.
mic,
I
guys.
don't need, listen to me carefully. I don't
Did you
need
want
you
my
to speak
answer?
for me.
One mic, folks, please. Okay, we're gonna let. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. Everyone mute, but hey, let's let
Shit.
her speak. Let's let her speak.
Hey, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'll use
Man,
it for now.
Yehuda got everybody triggered, man.
Yeah, he does.
I'm saying, God damn.
Do I
Lord
get my
have
George
mercy.
Soros bonus now?
You know what? Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the audience and you're triggered right now, you're triggered just like Susan, just like Lena. Hit the chat feature at the bottom right corner and just type hell yeah. Type a hell yeah in the chat right now if you are triggered. Man, Yehuda, man, I might just call you the Trigger King. You know what I'm saying? And you just walk in and trigger every motherfucker in the building, man. That's crazy.
Hey man, all he does is talk shit about people.
That used to be
Nelson.
Jonathan Bing,
That's all he
man.
does is talk shit about people, bro. He doesn't.
One
Country
second.
was
One
arming
second. I didn't ask for you to
if my
jump in.
country was arming another fascist country to do bad things to people, okay, my head would be in the sand. Like I'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe
Well,
this
it's in the
happened.
dirt right now.
Okay,
Your
well, I'm
head.
just letting
You're
you
not
know.
even
Oh,
thinking.
bravo.
God damn.
That's wonderful. You have a comeback for everything. Why don't you just say, like, why don't you just
Snappy
apologize for
comebacks.
your government's behavior?
I'm Canadian. What do you mean my government? We apologize for your crap maple syrup, maybe. Listen, we had several Armenian friends come up when this last nonsense was told, and the guy was absolutely pro-Palestinian. He said, "Look, the truth is, Israel came to Armenia first, offered them the spike, the harap. Armenians said no. the Israeli defense industry, not the government, offered it to the Azeris, and they took it. So." There is no other group of people in the world that support the recognition of the Turkish genocide of Armenians more than Jews. Every Jewish organization does it. Israel hasn't done it. To my shame, I'm not an Israeli, by the way, so stop telling me I'm Israeli. The Israeli government hasn't done it, but they haven't done it because the Turks are threatening them with all sorts of problems. Not because they don't want to, but guess what? There are dozens of Western countries that have not accepted the Armenian genocide or called it a genocide because of Turkish threats. So if you want to attack Israel, you better be attacking every other country that hasn't accepted or ratified it as a genocide. You want to attack Israel. Israel supported Azerbaijan has been an ally of Israel since it became independent. That's not a secret. And still, Israel offered all of those weapons, the harap, the spike, all of it. They offered to Armenia first. Armenia took a pass and said, we're going to hang out with Russia. Bad move, bad call. Don't blame the Jews for that stuff. All right?
I'm not blaming the Jews. I'm simply, and I'm not
Israel.
blaming.
Don't blame Israel.
I'm blaming the Israeli government for sure.
Well, don't, because did you hear what I just said? They offered it to your government first. They said no. Do you understand that? Go, if you don't know enough about your own country or your own homeland, why are you coming up here and talking a bunch of smack? Because all it does is give me a headache, and it makes me angrier. It makes me want to bring the smack down on disinformation. Because you know what, Nelson, I'm a bit of a disinfo smack downer. All right, we got John Spencer here, by the way. He's the world's foremost expert on urban.
That's the goat right there, man.
That's like, you know what it is?
My guy, my
That's like
guy.
somebody saying, and during World War II, you know, like Hitler knocked on my door and he said,
Lord.
"Oh, like I need some gas chambers. Are you willing to provide it?" No, so I'm going to go to someone else. Like, you'd be okay with that if Hitler knocked on my door and offered me $1 billion, I wouldn't take 10 cents. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't, because it
Abhorrent.
doesn't make
Okay.
sense.
Oh, it makes plenty of sense, sir. Makes plenty of sense.
Well, it does not. I'm really sorry for that. Listen, what I'd love to hear, smarter people than me. John Spencer, the world's foremost
Oh, you
expert.
just heard me, so there you go.
I'm not very smart. I'm just a simple man. I'm a farmer. John Spencer is the world's foremost expert in urban warfare.
Look at Yehuda.
Let me do a layup, Jonathan. Jonathan Spencer, Top Gun. He's the chair of the Urban Warfare Studies Department, War Institute, Madison Policy. He is an American veteran.
Suck his dick already, bro.
Oh, wow, that's weird.
Well, thank you, Nico.
John Spencer, jump in, John.
John Spencer.
Hey, Yehuda. Hey, hello, everybody. Susan, everybody. If we want to talk about the current operation, I'm more than happy to join. And I joined right when somebody was saying something about a war crime or something about the approach. I too agree. Every civilian casualty is a travesty and should be avoided at as much as reasonably feasibly possible. But as a personal opinion and understanding in studying war, studying Israel, studying this conflict for a long time, the Israel and the Palestinian people will be safer once Hamas is eradicated and their military capability is taken away from them. The world will be a safer place. So that's my position there. If you want to talk about the operation, I'm more than happy to do that.
John, can you answer Nelson's question? John, you know what? Do you mind, Nelson? Can we bring Malcolm Nance? Can I go get him? Because I want to gin it up here.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. But
what's
John,
the question?
John, I got attacked. They said, why aren't those videos there now? Why don't they have it? I'm like thinking, you've been in a trench. I've been in a trench. And, can you imagine a camera behind you? Prove there are terrorists here. Prove there's enemy here. People are mad that the Al-Shifa hospital videos aren't out and about. And I said, give it 2 weeks. Was I wrong?
2 weeks from today?
What I'm saying is you can't ask the Israelis to provide all of this fancy schmancy stuff whilst they're still fighting block to block, right?
Right. And again, if you want to talk about the SHIFA hospital, I agree with the position that, and we had this conversation not too long ago, and we're going to need to bring everybody back so there are no tunnels. Okay. There has been a tunnel. I know it's not enough. We need to bring everybody back as this develops. But I got on, CNN and I've done the rounds saying, look, as somebody who's done these operations to clear a building to clear a tunnel, you can't do that rapidly. I agree. There should be embedded journalists with freedom of movement. It's a dangerous situation. I'm waiting to hold judgment, and I think everybody else should to include free access. I see you there. Until they're done and say, this is all we got. And we look at it and say, well, that's not the complex you said that was under there. Until then, we are just speculating on what it is or is not there. I agree with Yehuda that in a military operation like this, in a complex the size of this, while fighting still going on, but here's another humanitarian way to approach it, is that hospital is safer with the IDF present. And that hospital will be returned to functioning capability, as you've seen hundreds of supplies being delivered to the hospital part that they have not entered yet. The one with the patients, by the way.
Are you guys joking? You keep talking about eradicating Hamas, right?
Yes.
Why
yes.
Statistically, half of the 12,000 Palestinians that have perished have all been children.
According to
Hamas.
According to I can answer that.
According to Doctors Without Borders, I don't know, all these
are they there? They're not even on the ground.
You said exactly. You don't know.
They're not on the ground. How would you know?
Do you?
No, nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So here's a fact on that. Right. I agree. Look, and again, I can show you historically in battles, people think that this is an inordinate historic level of civilian casualties. And by the percentage of the Palestinian people in Gaza is 50% under the age of 18. I acknowledge that. Israel is the only one who's downgraded their casualty count from October 7th by actually counting bodies and piecing together bodies and saying, okay, this is the number. Now it's 1,200, right? Hamas's number provided and clear. Let's say, even if you don't believe it's Hamas's number, but at least Hamas approved number that's allowed to get out keeps going up no matter what happens. I'm sure it's thousands, and I'm sure it's tragic and it's unfortunate. But again, there is a military operation, a just war theory. The Israel was just in starting this, and they're executing it in accordance with humanitarian law. And we can discuss when people think that they're not, when they are. And civilian casualties, you have to avoid, you have to take care, you have to take precautions, you have to do all these things. You do not have to, there is no such thing as a bloodless war where there are no civilian casualties, and 90% of the casualties of modern wars are civilians. These are facts. These aren't assertions or ideals of why or what about. Haven't you heard this number? It is the fact of war. If you want no war in the world, you're going to be severely upset that that's not going to happen anytime in human existence.
Who's talking right now?
Silence.
Okay,
Drop mic.
Okay, good. Okay, let's
no one had nothing to say.
Jam. Just jump in, Jam. Talk. Let's do it, Talk. All right, guys. If I call on you and you don't speak, I'm gonna have to drop you. Talk. Going once.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready for some bullshit. So
let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, John, you make some good points, but I have to say that normally, historically, the things like war crimes, crimes against humanity, are normally proven after the war. I mean, you can see it on the ground. I'm not sure why they're not allowing inspectors to be on the ground. First of all, the Israelis are controlling that narrative. They're in northern Gaza now. They should allow independent inspectors up there on the ground to see exactly what's happening. And the other thing is the last atrocities or war crimes that have been committed within Gaza, over the years, ICC and the International Criminal Court have written up to 762-page report that came out from the International Criminal Court last year, detailing war crimes, including use of human shields by IDF soldiers, where they would get Palestinian boys to check suspect packages in suspect buildings in Gaza. So detailing war crimes, they normally come after the fact, right?
I mean, let's be real, bro. Human shields, that's Hamas. Let's keep it real. It's not bullshit, right?
Yeah, but I know, but that's a fact. Israel is
used. Let's not bullshit.
No.
Let's not.
I'm not denying that. I'm not doing that.
Let's just keep it real, my brother.
I'm not denying it.
You guys never let any pro-Palestinian people
shut the fuck up,
man.
No. Go ahead, TLC.
Nelson, yeah, look. So what I'm saying, I'm not here defending Hamas, by the way. I completely agree they have committed war crimes. I'm not saying they haven't, but I'm also saying that Israel is also potentially committing war crimes, which they have done before, which when the reports come out, they'll call it what Netanyahu quoted the last one as anti-Semitism as an attack on Israel. This is the report on their war crimes and evidence showing it. That's what they tend to do. They just bat it off. So they've got away with it before on a technicality, because actually they're not part of the International Criminal Court. I wonder why they're not part of it.
That's not how it works, Talk. It doesn't. That's not how it works. You can still be called out for war crimes if you're not a member of the ICC. That's ridiculous.
You have you have to be part of their own statute, right?
No,
can we
fact.
vote? No, you don't.
No, I don't want to interrupt him. I want to wait till Talk's done so I can hit the points.
No, John, please do us a favor. Educate me.
Yeah, let Talk finish, guys. One mic on Talk. Let's go, Talk.
So yeah. Anyway, basically, what they've done with these reports is my point is they always call them anti-Semitism. Pure anti-Semitism is the exact quote, or attack on Israel, and they get away with it on that technicality or whatever you'd like to use that word, and they weaponize that essentially. This is the Israeli government. I'm talking about Israelis in general or anything like that. I don't care about Zionism. I don't care about any of that stuff. Hamas, I completely agree. They committed war crimes, but Israel could be committing war crimes because the way I see this now, this war is bloodlust. It's revenge. It's yes, they want to take out Hamas, but it's a part of it is absolute bloodlust and revenge to cause as much destruction as possible and as much death as possible because they were hurt. I get it.
Do you really believe
They were
that,
hurt.
Talk?
But
Honestly, no, Talk. Do you believe that? Honestly, in your
this
heart
is
of
what we're
hearts.
seeing, though. This is what we're seeing, Yehuda,
No,
play
but
out before our eyes.
listen. You know Israel's a strong army, right?
Yehuda, I actually agree with that point. Let's let them land and we can debate it.
Fair enough.
This is what we're seeing, Yehuda, because if they actually cared about any of this, in order to go forward and look forward in terms of destruction and the protecting even their own civilians, right? Even their own civilians, because you have your own hostages there, right? There would be a different way of doing this, because to wipe out Hamas, I mean, look, let's face it, your government is incompetent, right? Incompetent, because you've had Hamas, this terrorist organization, at your border for how long now? These people have been throwing rockets at you, and your government freaking let them in? Like, they went on holiday? They let them run around for 6.5 fucking hours.
Talk.
Like,
Let me
your government
just
is
jump in for a second
completely,
because I haven't said anything.
completely
Talk. Wait
incompetent,
a second.
and
There
they're
was
just
this.
out for
Wait.
revenge.
Talk.
Let me. I'm done.
John
I'm done. I'm landing. I'm landing.
No,
I'm landing. What I'm saying is they're basically just out for revenge for
Okay.
their own
Talk.
freaking incompetence.
And he made that towards me. So can I respond there, Nelson?
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and again, people say I'm pro-Israel. I'm actually pro-fact. In this situation, so the comment about war crimes, that after the fact, there is a yes and no. No, there are plenty of cases and plenty of wars, and I don't want to do whataboutisms where immediate accusations and a clear black and white war crime, such as in the war in Ukraine, such as the ICC currently has an arrest warrant out for President Putin, and the war is not over. There, you can validate war crimes, and you can do investigations and provide evidence. And even if somebody's not, you can't persecute you, as in make other countries hold other personnel responsible if they're not signatories to the ICC, like the United States isn't, because it's unconstitutional. But usually people are talking about it in the sense of bombing, right? So that bomb, that strike was a war crime. As opposed to something that was seen like on October 7th, which is actually uploaded video from the assailant saying, and we can all say black and white, look, clearly that is a war crime. But I actually agree with a lot of you. You said potentially war crime, maybe war crime.
Could be.
Yeah, could be war crime. I agree with you. And that's again why I'm pro-fact. I believe that those strikes will pass the muster, but we'll see. Like the Jabala City strike, where is the determination of what the IDF intelligence had on who was there and what were the concrete military objectives, and then the foreseeable number or result of civilian casualties. That is the way the law of war works. Now, the question about revenge and lust, look, that even if a society feels that, as a former military soldier who has interacted with plenty of IDF soldiers, and again, that is something you could show, like, look, this revengeful, marauding force is committing all these acts, like we've seen in very recent other battles where I can show you military units are doing that and there's no accountability. You had that feeling, but you have no evidence of the way the war is being prosecuted, that it is being done in some illegal, revengeful, lustful way. That's not the way war works, especially with a Western, moral, law-abiding force. Unlike Hamas. So again, I always go in, and Nelson knows this, I go in with the assumption that until otherwise, I believe the IDF, and I make it based on my expertise, make an assumption on whether strikes are illegal or not, versus Hamas, the terrorist organization, responsible and wants to do as many October 7th as it can, as long as it survives, stated in their own words.
They said it in their own words. John, how many shekels do you get from the IDF to say this?
0. I don't get any money from anybody. I'm a researcher. Yeah. Not even from Twitter.
Good.
Not even from the news. When I go on the news to tell people.
Yehuda, no one ever said that about Colonel.
No, nobody did. But it was a question. I
Yeah,
answered
what
it.
I'm saying is that people will ignore what he said. He's just told you the truth as he knows it, and he's an expert. I'm not. He has taught my professors, by the way. I'm not even good enough to be in his class. My professors are good enough to be in his class, and the guy is telling the truth. And it really bothers me when there are so many armchair military experts here. So they would never attack this. Shut up! Like, you have no idea. I have never in my career, over 20 years, been in any situation where there was a camera pointed at me and saying, "Prove there's a tunnel." What? Look, that's something for the historians after, but let me tell you this. Again, for everyone who says, "I just don't have enough proof." Why do you think the goddamn Israeli Defense Forces needs to prove it to you? They don't. They need, you know what they do? They push that information up the chain of command. It goes to their public affairs, it goes to their intelligence, it goes to their prime minister's office, and it goes to their allies. And they share with their allies the information and say, look, you need to give us a bit of breathing room because this, and this is happening. We're not going to share all that information. Someone said, well, don't believe Mark Regev. He said this. Listen, he's a senior advisor to the Prime Minister of Israel, and he is saying there's way more out there for operational security reasons. I cannot share that with you. I'm willing to give that a pass. He's not speaking as an IDF soldier. He's speaking as an advisor to the Prime Minister. And for everyone today, mark it on the calendar, was the 17th of November. I don't know, give it 2 weeks. Everything they've said today, they've literally called it. Everyone has doubted them. Everyone has doubted them. And every time the clock ticks, they're right. I have no reason to disbelieve that we will find a command and control center of some regard under the Al-Shifa house. It might be a forward operating base, and then they vacated it, as Jonathan said. They had 40 days. They moved back to some other position, and they're going to hold their hostages there, the ones that are alive. And that's it.
Yeah, I'll add this. President Biden went out there, and he said he is certain that there's information. Now, he's not the sharpest guy, and sometimes he speaks when he shouldn't speak. Okay, but for a president to say that, pretty much say that they're 100% certain, he said, "I'm absolutely certain that is what you call it." He has some intel that has not been shared yet, and people got upset when he said that. And he spoke and said that yesterday, that he's absolutely certain that that is a base, that was a command center, and and people got upset. So for the president of the United States, you guys always say he's not the brightest, sharpest tool in the shed. Okay, I don't think he misspoke. He put out information that he probably shouldn't have put out there. I'm fully confident that when it's all said and done, that once again, you guys are going to be the IDF is going to prove you doubters incorrect. Now, once again, I know the IDF has done some horrible shit in the past. Okay, I'm not absolving them for that, but what I'm saying is Israel has the right to secure their people, their population, and to make sure that these attacks doesn't happen in the future. And lastly, like I said, you don't fucking find hostages' bodies at the Al-Shifa if that wasn't a command center. Those bodies would not have been there. Those were near there. Those bodies, that just proves that the hostages were once held there. Okay, and once again, you don't just find those bodies there, and that's where I'm at with it. There's enough happening right now. There's enough evidence out there that's saying whatever's taking place at that hospital shouldn't be taking place at that hospital. Those hostages was taken out of Israel. What they were found at that fucking hospital. Okay, so there it is. That's why I rest my case. I yield.
Okay, Jonathan, Joe Biden is sitting here in Washington, D.C.
He grabs the mic. He doesn't care who's next. He grabs
John,
the mic.
I have not spoken yet. Since joining the space for more than like
Kind of a
1.5
good thing.
hours, this is my first time speaking, and Yehuda would testify to that. So, John, come on. Okay, you can go ahead, John Spencer. You can just go ahead.
No, I'm good.
I'll speak after you.
I go ahead. No, I'm good.
BBC people were there. They have Jonathan reported from there. There is no headquarters they have seen. There are no weapons of
They
that
did not
grade.
record that. They did not report that. They said they haven't seen. They said that the IDF haven't provided that, and they have not been there and walked the grounds.
They have been there.
They have not let anyone walk those grounds yet.
They have been there.
They've been shown the same thing everybody else has, and have not been given access to the site itself. I agree with you. They've been there. They've been to that hole, the one IDF hole, the one tunnel that I say on news is a tunnel based on my expertise. That you are right. The BBC said they have not seen it because they have not been given access because it's not clear yet. It is not clear for military, even let alone news. You know how many soldiers have been lost already to explosives in things like basements and tunnels? A lot. So they're not going to let BBC run around the entire SHIFA.
Colonel Spencer, two
I'm
Kalashnikovs.
trying to do facts. Do you
Two
recognize?
Kalashnikovs. Before there was
Do
one
you recognize?
Kalashnikov.
No,
When BBC
let's
camera
not move
guy
on.
came, there were two Kalashnikovs. I mean, this is the kind of
I
Hamas
was on
running.
BBC last night, brother. I know.
He
I was on.
knows. Afsal, sit down.
Come on,
Let's just.
Yehuda.
Yeah, but
There
you
is
lied
really
already when you said that they were there,
Yes.
and they
Yeah.
didn't. They said they didn't see.
Jonathan, the
They
BBC
said
people were there. They actually
They
took the
were
shots
not.
of two Kalashnikovs, man, Jonathan.
That's not the
BBC
That they've
reported
been in
there
the
was one
same
Kalashnikov.
MRI building in the same hole everybody else. I was on BBC last night and they played it for me right before I started speaking. They have not been given access. Nobody has because it's not clear yet to SHIFA Hospital Complex. Let's deal in facts.
Jonathan had a clip over there, up there. He can play that too.
No.
Hold on.
No one said that no one definitively said that nothing's there, and that's the problem with you guys, the pro-Palestinian guys. You guys are so used to propaganda. They say they haven't seen anything yet.
Jonathan, I have nothing to. My dog is not in this fight, Jonathan.
Okay,
I have
but
nothing to
Afsal,
then
gain to lie
let me
about this
finish.
whole
Let me
thing.
finish because
I am only for truth, man.
you
Man,
guys, no,
Afzal,
you're
it
not.
sounds like you're
Because
smoking your dog right now, man. You
because he came
smoking
up
on
and
that
lied.
dog for
Hold on,
sure.
Nelson. He came up and lied and
Smoking
said
on
that
something.
BBC said absolutely that there wasn't there. That's not what
no,
they
This
he
is
said.
what
said
Nelson opened his statement.
No, he
Nelson
did not
said it
open the room. He
himself.
did not say
Ask
absolutely wasn't
Nelson.
there.
Do not ask
Nelson,
me. Ask Nelson.
you know what
Nelson has said
exactly said?
exact same thing.
Wait a second. Let me get
Nelson,
one mic.
what is the BBC report, Nelson, which you
No, he
yourself
did not say that it
opened with?
wasn't there. They said they
Let,
haven't seen proof yet.
let me speak, right? So what was in there? Afzal, what are you saying? What was in there?
BBC guy clearly has reported they have not confirmed any presence of the headquarters or the massive weapons. This is categorically what they have said that
Yeah,
they
but
have not shown us
earlier you said they said it wasn't there.
what IDF what promised and what they had built 2 weeks before attacking the hospital. They have not.
I'm sorry, I got to mute you, bro, because the whole room heard what you said. You said they confirmed that there was no command center there.
They
Is
said
what
they
you
were
said.
there on the ground.
No, they didn't confirm
They
that.
said they were there on the ground and they confirmed that it wasn't there.
Yeah, no, they didn't do that. No,
But he
they
said
didn't
they
do that.
did. He said they
Yeah,
did. Can we
He
get
said you did,
Afsal?
Nelson. He said you did.
Nah, then he
Okay,
he misspoke.
let me
He
pull up the
misspoke.
clip, Nelson, and I will play it, or you can play Nelson the BBC clip so that
Bro,
everybody can hear.
bro. I was the one who posted a BBC clip. I was the one who talked about the BBC clip. They did not say that.
He keeps forgetting to say the word yet. Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Add the word and then you're correct. Add the word yet.
I told you, bro.
They have.
I told you he's smoking on his dog, man. He's either smoking on his dog or he's smoking on the same shit fucking ISIS be smoking on. You know what I'm saying? Because that definitely is no medical marijuana. You smoking crackable goddamn marijuana, whatever the fuck you smoking. So he's smoking horrible marijuana. Let me go to Sade real quick. Sade, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nelson.
Let's talk about that. But that boy smoking on something, right?
I'm not gonna criticize Palestinian allies. No, he's not. Let me go to
All
the
right,
point.
continue capping for your goddamn
You know,
cappers.
I'm a very angry person because I know what double standard looks
Get the
like.
hell out of here. You're not an angry person with that soft ass voice.
Hold on.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Jonathan's an angry person. Yehuda's an angry person. Yehuda's an angry motherfucker. Shit.
I'm not angry. Let me just
angry
read.
as fuck.
Allow me to read just one tweet from a person on the stage. It's 10 seconds. Urban warfare is hell. Damaged cities and their populations for generations. Targeting protected populations, non-combatants, and protected sites, hospitals, schools, buildings clearly holding civilians seeking refuge from the battle are war crimes. These are the words of John Spencer. He tweeted this on Colonel John Spencer.
Facts. I stand by that.
Hold on, sir. Hold on, sir.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
You tweeted this days after the Mariupol war crimes. And
Fact. War crimes.
Hold on.
Clear
one moment,
war crimes.
Sir.
Facts. I'm supporting you. Go ahead. Sorry.
I understand, but I'm very disappointed that you've tweeted multiple times undermining that Israel has been committing war crimes in Gaza when you know clearly that they've been launching deadly airstrikes into densely populated areas in Gaza. You saw what northern Gaza looks like today. 1 million people,
Yes.
over
Yeah.
5,000 children have been, killed because of those airstrikes.
Not accepted by
Hold
him.
on, Miss Colonel Spencer. You did not need to see any proof. You did not wait to see any human rights reports for you to be making such tweets for Ukraine. So what
Yeah.
makes me
No,
what makes me angry is not just you, sir. There are many people
but let
that.
me respond to it. I mean,
Okay, I'm done.
okay.
Just 10
Okay.
seconds.
Oh,
Why do you not see the pain, the suffering, the war crimes being committed in Gaza the same way you saw it when it was done in Ukraine?
I
And
love
that,
this. Thank you for the
thank you.
question. Oh, yes. Great. Landed it. So that's a great question. And I did. All that was a fact outside of the part where you start talking about Israel and targeting civilians, not following the international humanitarian law, like announcing and giving civilians a chance to evacuate before you make those strikes or striking. So you want to compare Russia to Israel. You want to compare Mariupol to Gaza City. Let's do it. So Russia carpet bombed, not using any munition, GBU, GPS guided munition with a clear military target. It carpet bombed. It struck a theater within a week of the operation, full of civilians with the word children written on the outside of it, as clear and black and white. There are over what's believed to be 30,000 civilians in that one city killed through indiscriminate bombing. Now, I stand by everything you said, targeting of civilians. Russia has done that every day of the war. It does it today. Proven, like not you don't need John Spitzer's opinion. In densely populated areas, those are war crimes. Israel has executed a long air campaign, not even long in comparison to other battles, has given civilian notices of evacuation, has called buildings before they struck them, has dropped munitions on the top of buildings before they did, has dropped over 1 million flyers. It has Nobody has shown Israel has struck a single target that wasn't a military target. And somebody does, then that's a war crime. If you show me that they are targeting civilians, I'm saying based on my expertise, Russia targeted civilians in the city of Mariupol that you are referencing that tweet. And I have a couple pieces of evidence, like the theater, like the maternity hospital, that wasn't surrounded and then entered. It was struck with a munition, and the dead mothers with babies still in them were carried out with an international media around them. So there is giant difference. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there is no conflict in the two. I'll call a spade a spade. I'll call a war crime if I have a lot of evidence and a strong interpretation of what is a war crime. It is a war crime to strike civilians, especially in populated areas. It is not a war crime to strike military targets in densely populated areas. You still have requirements in international law to take steps to minimize civilian harms, like announcing evacuations, like calling before a strike, like the things the IDF does. So I appreciate the question because there is a vast difference, and we can actually look towards Ukraine to show people like this is what a war crime looks like. The fact that they've kidnapped 100,000 babies and sent them to Russia, and the ICC has issued a warrant for Putin's arrest because of that fact, those are clearer war crimes than everybody becoming a war crime expert and saying every strike in Gaza is a war crime. That's not
Yes.
true at all.
Yes, sir. So unfortunately, this is where me and you disagree, and I'm not just not myself, but millions of people all over the world. What's happening in Gaza is war crime. They've been bombing, carpet
So you
bombing
have a million
residential.
war crime
Sir,
experts?
please, sir.
Yeah, but you're disagreeing. This is a debate. Disagree based
Sir,
on expertise,
it's not
evidence,
just
Just
my
listen.
data.
But
He's
you
an
know what it
expert.
sounds
You're
like?
not
It's
an
kind of like
expert in
describing
this.
the difference between cocaine and crack, right? In order for it to be crack, it has to have baking soda and like, no,
Yeah,
it's
you have to have the law.
I'm
Yeah,
just
you have to
saying, like,
like.
her point is people are getting starved, people are getting bombed. These are civilians. I mean, it's well known. I just feel like the technicalities, it's just.
It does. It
Yeah,
does matter. Words matter,
technicalities matter.
and the
You know.
law matters, and the execution of a war
I guess
matters.
in the eyes
Both
of the
the
public, it doesn't.
Yeah,
because
that's right. And that's
most of the
fine.
public
People can
don't
be
know the
stupid.
rules. They don't.
That's fine.
They're ignorant.
Well, I'm surprised nobody has yet corrected him on the misstatements that he shared on the stage. For him to be such an expert, he sure is sharing a lot of disinformation.
Oh, go
Well,
ahead.
and
Let's
who
hear
are
it
you?
then.
And who
Let's
are
go.
you?
You
Grab
don't.
We can get
TC.
a
Yeah.
love to hear who you
That's
are.
TC. By the way, man, that's our guy TC from our clubhouse audience, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to TC. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it stands for, but we usually call it total cap. Because 99% of what comes out of that boy's mouth is absolutely cap. My brother TC, welcome to Twitter, baby. Let's go.
I appreciate the introduction. I could have done without it. I think if I don't want to mischaracterize your statement, John. I know you're probably very circumspect with your language, but if I heard you correctly, I think I heard you say that Israel did not drop bombs without first dropping leaflets and informing the civilian public.
No, I didn't say
Okay,
that.
so clarify.
I said, okay, thank you. I'll say that. Israel has not dropped a bomb on anything that anybody has evidence that isn't a military target, and followed the steps of proportionality, discrimination,
You mean
and
distinction. You mean
necessity.
distinction, not discrimination.
Yeah, I meant sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you mean, right? No, but you're wrong.
Proportionality and
Still,
necessity.
you're still wrong though, because on October 7th, okay, October 7th, this is documented. Okay, there's satellite
Documented
proof.
where?
If you let me speak, I can tell you. There's satellite proof. There's information that's provided online. You can go look at Amnesty
Can you give
International.
us the sources?
Can you just let me finish, and then you'll get a lot of the questions you have. Right? Amnesty International, a very reputable source that tracks humanitarian crises around the globe.
When they retract their reports.
Okay. Here's the thing, right? October 7th, without any warning to the civilian population, drop bombs. That's 100% fact. That's not up for dispute. Okay. They did not warn the public. Okay. If they had identified these military targets, why then do we have more civilian deaths than we have military deaths? It is not legal. It is a crime to indiscriminately bomb without taking into consideration the laws of distinction and proportionality. And when you apply those two laws, when you apply those two laws to what we're seeing in Gaza right now,
guys, mute your mics, man. Let him talk. Let him talk. Yo, mute your mic, man. Let him talk. Go ahead, TC.
When you apply those two laws of warfare, what you find is the hypocrisy that we're hearing from John, whatever his name is. Because that's all I'm hearing is hypocrisy. She literally read you
Spencer,
on this stage. John Spencer, she read you on this stage. She said that you came out and you gave accurate information that the targeting or bombing, indiscriminate bombing of hospitals, medical infrastructure, civilian infrastructure is a war crime. But just in the
That
same
is not a
vein
military
that she
target.
read
I
that
didn't
to
say
you,
that.
came
That
out
is not a military target. So you can
whatever
bomb a
okay,
hospital with a military
are you
target.
saying that because
You're an expert on warfare.
Fine. I'm not an expert on warfare. This is not an appeal this is not an appeal to authority. Logical fallacy here, John.
Expertise. No, I know. Let me respond to the first part,
because
if you don't mind. Go
accepted
back
that
and
you're
forth.
not an expert.
No, I don't mind, Huda. Let's go back and forth first. On October 7th, Amnesty International. So let's start off with the source you're using. Amnesty International is not a credible source. They're the same people who issued a report on the Ukraine saying that any Ukrainian force in an urban area is a war crime. That's how far from the truth Amnesty International knows about the laws of war.
Remind me what more reputable sources you have than over Amnesty International.
The International Criminal Court.
The International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction here. And
Well,
the International
International
Court, and I'm sorry, the International Criminal Court has not issued any findings. What are you talking about? The International what findings does the International Criminal Court?
Amnesty International is not a finding,
I'm sorry, John.
fact-finding force.
Excuse me, but you said International Criminal Court. Please source and cite for us the findings of the International Criminal Court that
You
you
can go
derive
on
your
their
proof from.
website. They literally had a 5-year investigatory progress after the 2014 war. They published their findings in
Respectfully, we're not talking
2020.
about 2014,
You're
and I'm
not.
not talking to
Yeah,
you. I'm
so you
talking
want
to
to talk about
John.
the
John is
ICC?
the
They
one that said he
investigated.
had.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me get one mic in the building, respectfully. Okay, so I need one mic on TC and one mic on John Spencer. Everybody else, mute your
Nelson,
mics.
he's my new best.
Definitely not total cap. I know you're not talking about total cap, but let's get one mic on TC and John.
Let me finish off.
Let's go.
Right, Amnesty International, not a credible source for determining what is a war crime and what is not. It's just not based on their recent history, as in the last 2 years. And there's a guy down in the audience who's actually a war crimes or a law of war lawyer. You might want to bring Brian up.
No, you don't get to scurry off and run and hide behind some guy named Brian now because you called out on your
anonymous
bullshit.
account. I'm not.
You said
so your
I'm not
other
an
thing about
anonymous account. You know exactly who.
necessity and proportionality, right? So you question my interpretation of necessity and proportionality. I never said you can't bomb a hospital. You can't bomb this. Actually, once a site loses its protection, since you are also informed on the law of war, if a site loses its protection, it is a valid military target. We're talking about Russia versus Israel striking either a valid military target or an invalid military target, in which it would make it a war crime to target unless it meets the military necessity, proportionality, and distinction clauses of international humanitarian law. You have not gotcha in any way, shape, or form. You're using Amnesty International as a source, which is nuts.
It's not a relevant source. TC, may I jump in here, Nelson? Because my brain is hurting.
Let's rock and roll, baby. Real quick, Jonathan, are you here, man? Yo. Jonathan.
He fell asleep.
This dude always has a fucking burger in his mouth, bro. It's
What do you
crazy.
mean, bro?
It's fucking crazy.
He's full.
What kind of burger?
Bro, read your goddamn messages, man. Get that burger out of your mouth, man.
He said, "What kind of burger?"
This motherfucker always eating some shit.
Hey, listen,
John Spencer said he had proof from the ICC.
Mute your goddamn mic.
No, I
man.
did not. Liar.
Yehuda's turn.
I said,
Yehuda,
what's a more credible source? ICC, who have actually issued findings about the Ukraine war, like the fact that Russia's kidnapping babies. You said, who's a better source than Amnesty International? And I said, there are many like the ICC. I didn't say the ICC is my source. My source is research. It's studies. It's historical case studies.
Just know that when you share more bullshit on the stage, I'm coming after you. All right? So
you scare me. You really scare me.
Man, that sounds crazy coming from a guy named Total Cap. Man. I swear to God. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Real quick, Yehuda, before you jump in. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to know exactly what you think about that debate real quick, right? Between TC and my man John Spencer, right? So if you think TC won that debate, I want you to type Total Cap in the chat right now. So hit the chat feature. Hit the chat.
You're crazy.
So hit the chat feature in the bottom right corner of the space. Respond to the tweet of this space and just throw in Total Cap. Right? Total Cap, whoop John's ass, whatever. Type Total Cap in the chat right now if you think TC won that debate. If you think Colonel John Spencer absolutely crushed Total Cap, just type John Spencer in the chat right now. Once again, chat feature, bottom right corner. Respond to the tweet of this space with your answer. Total Cap or John Spencer? Let's talk about it. Yehuda, let's go. Let's rock and roll, baby. Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah. So it wasn't really a debate because
my brother.
bringing forward. He was
Intel. Your name is not Yehuda, man.
Is your name Yehuda?
God damn.
Did he convert? Listen, honestly, call that man TCH because whatever he's smoking, we all need some. Look, John,
smoke weed every day.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
You're getting me in trouble. Listen, I gotta say this. Like John is one of those smart people, smarter than me. I've never heard that guy speak out of turn. You don't have to believe him, but do consider his references. You could come. Hold on one second. I gotta yell. Sorry. You gotta consider the sources. So if you're on the fence here, you just came in here. Like as Nelson said, you're right. TC or Colonel John Spencer's way too long to type. JC, not Jesus Christ, but he's kind of my Jesus Christ. I'm about to convert, Nelson. Tell people, look at the sources, and if it doesn't make sense at first glance, there's a good reason for it. There are a lot of people that want to paint a boogeyman of Israel, the IDF. But as someone, I can only tell you anecdotally, I was there, I did it. Tohar HaNeshek, the purity of arms. They're very, very obsessed with the idea of you take an aim shot. You never do something that is unethical. It doesn't happen all the time. I was going to call out some event that I once witnessed on the internet where an Israeli Defense Forces soldier, and this is in 20 years, did something that I consider a crime. But at the end of the day, every expert, bar none, forget Amnesty International, who gives Russia a pass to murder, rape, and to abuse Ukrainians. I don't consider them the be-all, end-all. And they're not consistent. But if you look at experts like John from all over the world, they all say the same thing. Give me proof of some event that isn't given to you by Hamas. Now remember, Hamas is a terrorist organization that murders, rapes, puts babies in ovens. Forget that they're Jewish. A baby, if you're a parent, a baby in an oven. If you think that they're the people to trust for casualty reports, you need to give your head a shake. Right, like we're this is super important, and you can I feel bad. Ashagar Orera, she's an Ethiopian Jewish girl who's in the military, and I actually saw a bunch of her. I know her personally. I met her once in Israel. She's on YouTube. She's on the internet, and I would love for her to meet today Mekbib here. And I think that the floor wouldn't be cleaner after she's done mopping you up. All right, Nelson, I'm done. I got to put a baby to bed, but I'm going to listen. How's that?
Hey, I have a question, and thank you, Yehuda. I saw Mays and Sadeh putting thumbs down. We were talking about the atrocities that
Yep.
Hamas inflicted by putting babies in the oven, women being raped, children being raped, and you guys had your thumbs down? What are you trying to say?
That's not exact. I did my thumbs down when he said that Hamas fabricated numbers of civilian deaths. 5,000 children that were.
You did it when
No,
I
you
said babies in
didn't.
an
You
oven.
did it when he talked about the babies
when
in
I
the oven.
did.
You both did it.
You're very clever for doing this because this is what
I
you're
am
good at.
clever, but you're actually
Do
guys,
not.
real quick, guys. The Twitter interface
I
is
did it.
trash, so it's probably a glitch. Oh,
No,
Maze. Okay,
yeah, I
shit.
did it.
Go ahead. Talk
Welcome,
about
Piotr, with my boy.
Maze, talk about it.
So when we're talking about evidence, this is the problem. TC just completely, just showed there was
I don't
no
know about all that.
evidentiary. Hold on, there
I
was no
don't know about that
evidentiary
shit.
support for his claims. And the thing is that if the baby that was in the oven, that happened during Nakba. There's a name to that baby. There's parents to that baby. What baby? There's no, and I'm not trying to be, the only reason I find it like extremely,
You sound like a
disingenuous to
Holocaust
continue.
denier, and it's a real
No,
disappointment.
I'm
Yeah, she
not.
is.
No,
She's
I'm
a
not.
big
Damn.
anti-Semite.
Listen, I
Yeah,
don't
she
give a
hates
fuck what
Jews.
type of labels y'all want
I
to
know
put
you
on
don't.
me. Okay, y'all can label me all you want to. Ask me if I
Then
do
can I
believe in the
ask you, do you
Holocaust.
not feel that the attacks took place on October 7th? Do you not think
Yeah,
there were rapes,
I do.
beheadings, murders?
No,
And do you want to know the full story? And do you want it emailed to you? Do you want to see them put the baby in the oven while they raped the mother and
see,
beheaded the father? Do you
that's
need
the
to see
thing.
that?
Why
Or
can't?
you actually
Why
need
She
proof?
just said there
Barbara?
was
Can you
no
just stop
rapes.
Barbara,
talking for
Maze just
Yeah,
2
said there
she
was no
is.
rapes.
seconds?
Barbara,
Like, I
this is
haven't
the
talked.
thing.
Even Nelson
Okay,
said
did you
you've been
ask
obscenely
me?
quiet. And Maze, I'm trying to pose something to you and you keep talking over me. And at the end of the day, you are another Holocaust survivor because you're debating whether or not this did or this did not happen when even the president of the
She's
United
a
States
Holocaust.
came out and said these atrocities did happen. And reporters spent 45 minutes. These guys GoPro'd it, live streamed it. And you're saying, well, that was that was something else and that didn't happen. At the end of the day, you are denying, Maze, that October 7th happened, and you're denying the fact that there were rapes and murders for civilians, Israeli citizens, absolute innocent citizens, and it's disgusting, and I'm really disappointed in you.
Can I talk now? I
Oh,
like
shit,
you
we're
just
talking about
took
vaccines now.
you took no, hold on a second. I mean, did you just see what you just did, Barbara? Like you took me
I
from
called it
being
what it
this
was,
and a
is that you
a
literally
Holocaust. This has
split
nothing
hairs
to
about a
do.
baby that was
Hold
put in
on.
an
Can I
oven
talk?
and
Is it my
tried to
turn or
deny
not?
it.
One
That's what
second, Babs.
I did.
Babs, let her respond. Let her respond. Let her respond.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So this has nothing to do with the Holocaust whatsoever. Okay. So that was just completely outrageous. Secondly, there's never been any evidentiary support. I don't need to see videos. It's not that I need videos. It's the fact that whenever we're making these types of claims, we're putting it on the table for consideration just for the fact of wanting to justify the way that Israel has retaliated, right? The brute force, just a completely unjustified response. Now, do I believe that October 7th happened? Was it awful? Absolutely. Absolutely. The shit was bananas. I wept that day. So it's not the fact that like, I am just, my allegiance, Barbara, is to truth. It is to truth. And it's
Okay.
not like
Yeah, and
if I
yeah.
were to get just the
It,
legitimate source. And by the way,
You need a
Biden,
legitimate source
after,
for the baby.
sorry,
I'll
one
get it
second.
for you.
I'm almost
But
done. I'm
let
almost
me,
done. Can
okay,
I just
let me
finish my
just,
sentence? I'm almost done.
yeah, can you just
Biden,
tighten it up a little bit?
after after Biden made that announcement, 1 hour later, there was a press release from the White House where he took it back. Okay, I'm gonna go find that for you, and I'll pass it along. And then that
And
way,
I'm going to
maybe
go
we
ahead
can
and
stop
find the
saying the
facts
40
that that
beheaded
baby
babies.
was in the oven while the mother was being raped, and then they cut the head off.
Yeah.
Okay, then they murdered the mother. So
Well,
I'll go
yep.
ahead and get you that information.
Please
Wait,
do.
But
you
if
made
you
that
are so
Thank
accusation
you.
committed
without
to the
even
truth,
having the
John,
proof,
just give me
Barbara?
one
You made that
second.
accusation
John,
without even
just
having
give
the
me one
proof? What
second.
the hell? How's
Just
that even
can you just
factual?
hang tight? I don't know
How,
who's speaking over me now. Just give me 1 second. If Maze is so committed to the truth, let me get real truthful with you. If
Please do.
Israel wasn't concerned about the citizens of Gaza and doing their very best to navigate this retaliation and bust and capture Hamas and end terrorism, there would be nothing, nobody, not a single plant left in Gaza to be seen. The place would have been obliterated. So
oh, you
please,
think
you
it's
want
Disneyland
facts?
right
That's
now?
not
They
You
true.
think
would
it's
have been
Disneyland right now?
obliterated. So the IDF is doing everything they can to get rid of military sites that are aimed at Israel and the citizens of Israel. And there would be nothing left, absolutely obliterated, if they didn't care about the citizens of Gaza.
So explain the 12,000 deaths, or actually, it's actually more than that. Explain the
And
12,000
stop
deaths.
giving those numbers
I can
they're
do
giving
it.
by the
Explain
I
it.
can explain
Explain
it.
Gaza
it.
I can
Ministry
How
of
explain
can you
it.
Health.
make
They're
accusations
garbage.
about
And
Let's leave the mic on the two ladies. I mean, dude, you should be ashamed of your goddamn selves, man.
In other words, shut your bitch ass up.
That's a fact. Shut your bitch ass up. All right. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And when you're done, we get John Spencer to whoop your bitch ass. All
the
right.
problem that I'm
Babs,
having right now, Nelson,
Nelson, you're not.
Nelson, the biggest
No,
problem, what I find so disgusting when people unmic, and listen, I believe that we are all aligned with freeing the Palestinian people, but it is not freeing the Palestinian
Nelson, you're
people
nothing
from
but a bitch,
Israel.
bro.
If
Patrick
you,
fucking
can you
stunned you,
just
nigga.
shut the
Fuck
fuck
you.
up? I don't know who you are, but you sound dumb as a box of rocks.
That's a
At the end of the
fact.
day,
Drop his
okay?
ass. Drop his ass.
And broke as
You know what? I don't
a
need to
box
drop
of
him.
empty
Just
pockets.
like just see at the where we nobody nobody wants to see anybody be mistreated in Palestine. They deserve their freedom. We deserve to free the Palestinian people. But I can't understand people that come up here and say, free Palestine from Israel. Okay, great. Here, the Palestinian people, you get Israel. Here you go with your Hamas leadership. Are you free under those circumstances? If you could come together with the reality of like, we need to be aligned in getting rid of Hamas and Hezbollah and any terrorist organization, we would be doing much better. But when people come up here, they deny the Holocaust, the second Holocaust, they deny October 7th, they want to split hairs. Maybe the baby wasn't put in the oven, the baby's head was just cut off. You are completely in denial of the fact that this war war was started by Hamas terrorists, the Hamas leadership of the Palestinian people. Period. End of story. And it started that day, and the Israelis are going to finish it. And if they didn't care about the civilians of Gaza, the place wouldn't even have a fucking plant.
Hey, Nelson, does
Can
Mays
I go
think
now? It's my
Hamas is
turn.
a freedom fighter?
It's my turn. So let me ask you
I
this,
think
Barbara.
that was a good question.
So,
Mace,
Mace,
no,
do you
I'm not
think
talking
Hamas
to
is a
John.
freedom fighter?
I'm talking
Mace,
to you,
answer the
Barbara.
question.
No, I'm talking to
You
Barbara.
can answer the
Okay, John can't address me. He's very disrespectful. After the last time, I'm not listening to John.
Which
But
John?
I do
There's
have
another
respect
John
for
that was talking
Barbara,
to you. Which
and
John?
I do wish to speak to her about this. So, Barbara, prior to October 7th, okay, the conditions that the Palestinian people were
Oh,
in
here we
were
go.
egregious. No. Oh, here we go. Nothing.
no, I
This
agree
is
with her.
true. She agrees.
They were egregious by
Right.
their own
One second,
leadership.
guys. We need to keep this balanced. Maze needs to be able to speak without being interrupted. Come
Well,
on,
let
let's
her
go.
answer the freedom fighter
Thank you.
question.
No. We got to keep it balanced. Maze, go ahead.
So, prior to, and then what was happening over the span of, I don't know how many years, they've accumulated over 10,000 prisoners, if you will. But these are people who don't have any due process, people that get picked up, kids, women. I mean, all these people were literally detained with no due process and never came home.
Not
And they're
true.
still there. So, no, this is true. This
It
is true.
isn't.
I can provide the documentation, no problem. But my point is so what happened on October, like what was their non-violent pathway to justice? Even if, like, let's just say
She's trying to
people have
justify
Oh my
October
God,
7th. This is
Denise,
sick.
you're right.
This is
no.
sick.
This is not
Disgusting.
Sick.
Let it flow, guys. Let it
Oh
flow.
my
Let it flow. Let
God.
it flow.
This is a very valid question. So you're basically saying, oh, okay, it was ceasefire. Everything was peaceful. We're dancing at a rave. Yet they're not. And the whole point is, I don't agree with it. I'm just being objective. What pathway, nonviolent pathway to justice did they have to be able to? I'm just asking. It's a valid question.
I
And
can
then
Sorry,
answer
can I
that.
answer? Can I answer that, please?
I've been waiting.
real
Mace.
quick. So I want you guys to understand something, right? What she's saying right now, there are probably more people on social media that believe every single word she's saying in comparison with the opposite, regardless of the fact that it might sound crazy to some people, including myself, right? But again, when we do these spaces, we got to make sure we maintain balance. Let her get it off, right? And then let somebody respond and let the audience have a better understanding from both sides, right? So it's very important to let the individual finish what they're saying. Very important, either side, right? So let's go to, I mean, fuck it. Who would like to respond to what she just
I'm
said?
here. What am I, chopping
Freedom
liver?
fighters.
No, all right,
I
Yehuda,
mean,
go ahead.
I've had my hand raised for about 20 minutes.
All right,
But
boom, Piotr, you got it. Let's talk about it.
what, Yehuda? You don't like me now? I feel very
I
innocent.
love you, but I
That
got when
motherfucker
the
doesn't like anybody tonight,
Piotr
man.
actually talks sense.
Listen, Piotr, I just when on the heels of an
All
anti-Semite
right, you guys
racist.
can get
Okay, all
married
right.
later
You know
on.
what?
Shit,
I'll
Piotr,
defer
let's
to
go.
Yehuda for 30 seconds of entertainment, and then I'm going to come in. So
30 seconds. Yehuda's go over 300
30
minutes,
seconds.
bro. You sure you want to do that?
300 seconds, he said. That's
Let's talk
94
about it.
hours.
30,000 seconds. Yeah, exactly.
Piotr, you know what? I love you even more. First of all, much love to Piotr. Check him out. Superstar, smart guy. Look, when I hear people like Maze, and I've never had a chance to address her in 100 years on this space or in the internet, I hear a bunch of bull crap. I've been sent more stuff about what she says about Jews than I've ever heard. It's complete disingenuous nonsense. So at the end of the day, these are people who she supports that are Jew-hating, racist psychopaths.
You have to let me respond.
No, you know what? You know what? Why don't you?
No,
chill
you're
out?
not.
Why don't please?
Let's
30
get to it, my brother.
seconds.
Let's get to it.
30 seconds. So listen.
What did I tell you, Piotr? I told you 300 minutes, right? Go ahead,
No,
Yehuda.
don't say it's a lie. I'm going to
I
give it to
told you.
Piotr. Piotr's my brother. Piotr's my brother.
You know them
Listen,
Canadians, man, with that maple syrup, man, it makes you
don't
go
mess
crazy,
with
bro. You
us.
know
We're
what
going
I'm
to burn your White House down, okay? We did it
I'm having
once.
a glass of wine. It's fine. It's 1 a.m. here. It's fine. No
Jeez
worries.
Louise.
You
Jeez
carry
Louise.
on.
Go, Yehuda, go.
Listen, Barbara versus Maze. I was all on board with Barbara. Maze, listen, you could dress up anti-Semitism. You could put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. You're an anti-Semite. You don't like Jews, and that's fine. We're not a big fan of you. Piotr, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so statistically speaking, the Gaza Health Ministry is not very consistent. I tried to look back to the last time that there was a significant amount of health, and humanitarian issues. We can use the 50-day war as an example, but we can also go historically further back. And there is a little bit of discrepancy between the health numbers, the casualty numbers that are provided by the health ministry, in quotation marks, versus what actually happens. But that being said, there have also been cases where the final death toll is actually quite similar to what the Israeli's foreign ministry, its own foreign ministry, actually sort of estimates. So I do think that it's within reasonable grounds to sort of look at the 12,000. And the point I think matters is that too many people have been killed, and not enough of those are likely to be Hamas fighters. The Al Sharif hospital out with enough evidence to suggest the claims that the Israeli government have been making about it being a command center, as Bibi Netanyahu said on Thursday night, then that might begin to see more of the international consensus shift towards the Palestinian cause a little bit more. For the time, the West has been largely giving the Israelis, no matter what they need, benefit of the doubt and everything, right? Because October 7th was such a heinous day. But the events in Gaza are now so significant that we are seeing more and more people not necessarily validate what has happened, but sort of begin to okay, Israel, you really need to think about longer pauses, a definite ceasefire. I was having an interview with a member of the Washington Post about this just yesterday, and she was saying she's lived in Iraq for 15 years, she's worked in the Middle East for 30 years, and she was saying that the international framing, no matter where you sit on this because of your historical association, is changing. And for me, that will, I think, be a crux of, if the Americans are trying to conduct great power competition engagement with the Chinese, whilst also maintaining international sort of consensus and stability in the Middle East, that they don't need these headaches, right? And you can see this reflected in the fact that on Thursday again, or Wednesday, I can't remember exactly when, the UN had a resolution that finally passed. The resolution is not going to do anything in terms of getting troops and shit into the area. What it is doing, though, is illustrating where the world sits on this matter. And for the first time, the Americans abstained. They did not veto. They simply just let the resolution pass. And this resolution was calling for longer pauses. So even the American delegation, maybe not the White House purely, is beginning to be like, okay, we need to push for more, humanitarian narrative, right? Not so much necessarily full-term peace, but this is the point. The longer this goes on, the more Palestinians are displaced, the more that are killed. The world just is like, well, this is pretty bad. And the Israelis are, they have incredible intelligence. They have a very capable military, and they need to get some tangible evidence of these command structures, and that they are and making headway, because as we can clearly see, there's a lot of speculation and general disbelief in the deaths of the babies and the ovens and the so on. So that's sort of where my mind is looking at it now. It's been 6 weeks, and look where we've come, right? It's indescribable. So, and this is the problem. This is my last point, which is when I listen to these conversations, I think it's quite sad because we dehumanize the severity of what we're talking about. There's people being killed left, right, and center. I don't want Hamas to exist. I don't want hardcore right nationalist people and blah blah blah. But we're now so angry about the whole thing that we're just like, oh well, 15 kids were killed. Oh, 20 old people were killed, and it's like it's for me that's pretty tough to digest. So that's all I've really got to say for now. Cheers.
Piotr, can I ask you, don't you think
Wow.
Hamas would just
Let me get in
quit?
there.
John,
That's
it's fine.
amazing. I actually agree with Piotr and TC. Or like, what's going on?
Let me,
TCH
Piotr,
means less drugs.
you to let me in here. Let me have the mic. I want to go back to what Mays was saying about what non-violent solution that Gaza has, which is a strategy in order to justify October 7th. I think John's question is, do you view Hamas as a freedom fighter? I'm sure Mays does. I don't even need her to answer that.
No, you're not sure. I don't know how you guys feel like you can run around just labeling everybody and being sure,
Okay, do
making
you then answer
assumptions.
the question? Do
Your
you view
timeline.
I
Hamas?
know, no. So we can, if you want to get to technicalities, like you were doing, they
It's
are
yes
a
or no.
resistance organization. That is what
There you
they
go.
are.
There you go.
That's
Okay,
what they
that's all I
are.
need. All right,
So
now
is that not what
back to
they
my
are?
point. If
No,
they
is that
are a
not what they
resistance
are?
force,
What they did, it was horrific. I was also
If they
traumatized. I am
did,
still traumatized by that. I'm not saying that what they did was righteous or by any means would I ever be cheering that shit on. That was horrific, right?
okay.
I think that it's responsible for us to ask what could have been some better options. That's a responsible question. I
That
mean,
was never an option. What they did was an atrocity.
but
That was
what
never an
exactly? But
option.
what were the
That was
options? Is my
disgusting. And I
point.
think, Mace, that's a fair
It,
question that needs to be answered. That what were their options? Israel is not the enemy. They are not the enemy. And Hamas's charter is to murder and kill all Jews. River to the sea, we shall be free is a battle cry to take out the entire state of Israel. And it is not about land, it is about religion. So all the Israelis have been doing is protecting themselves and their people. And their only option was to deal with the leadership within their own jurisdiction. It wasn't to attack innocent civilians and rape and behead mothers. I mean, how do you get to that conclusion? It was their only option, is what you're saying, Maze, is barbaric.
I
That's
did listen.
disgusting.
I'm not the one that pulled options out of the hat.
Was an
My
option. You
point
just asked,
is,
what else could they have done?
yeah,
what else
That's
could they have
like it's
literally
one
what
of
you
the
exactly?
said.
That's
options
the
on the
same
table.
040.
question. What
Oh
else
my,
could they?
what else could they
That's the
have done?
exact
How
same question.
barbaric are you?
They could not have
That's the
thrown
same
the
exact
previous
question.
regime 12,000 rockets. They could have done anything other than what they did on October 7th. Now, if you don't think that that would have been a path to their whatever, then that's
If
different than
what
what
would
the
have been a
current
path? I'm sorry.
context.
Can you repeat it? I didn't hear you clearly. Can you repeat that?
I said anything other than what they did on October 7th, where they could have not violently seized power and maintained power, not worked with the Palestinian Authority for, let's say, if you think that a two-state solution was a
I think
solution.
there's a good opportunity to make a point, a comparison point to this, right, John? Which is that the events of February 24th in Ukraine and Russia, you can talk about the hypocrisy of the West. You can talk about the expansionistic nature of NATO. You can talk about the encroachment of whatever and Russia feeling surrounded, right? But there's a thing here, which is that for a long time, namely 8 years, there was a skirmish, there was a conflict, a small bit of tension and conflict occurring in eastern Ukraine. It wasn't good, it wasn't acceptable, but it was relatively contained, and the world sort of adjusted to it, and we just sort of, we're like, oh, there's some, tensions and shit going on in eastern Ukraine between the Russians over a bit of land, right? Nothing really changed. The NATO alliance sort of got a couple new members, but there wasn't suddenly a massive shift on that side. What changed was suddenly on February 24th, the Russians decided to make a massive, significant movement. And that was based on what they claimed to be a lot of historical, symbolic, economic, strategical reasons, right? And October 7th has that catalyst element to it. Simply put, the grievances and frustrations that the Palestinians have felt for many a year, a decade, there was this tension, sure, but the ultimate change that happened was the choice of Hamas to do what it did in such a way. And this is what has led to the circumstances now. So whilst we shouldn't, I think, overlook the historical context of this, to suddenly think of October 7th as just sort of being something that was inevitable, well, I mean, yes and no. The evidence suggests that this was a long time coming, and the Iranians and Hezbollah were sort of helping Hamas, and then Hamas decided of its own whim to be like, screw it, we're going to go in and take a bunch of hostages and cause mayhem and all this sort of shit. So for me, it's sort of like we were on a pretty level sort of situation, and suddenly we skyrocket or we plummet, right? Suddenly fucking something changes, right? The pressure cooker explodes. So
Look,
for me,
so
that's quite
my
an
difference
important
between the
point.
two
Hey,
pures,
hey, you guys,
one
nice
Russia's
to meet
act
you guys. I'm
was
Diana. John, give me 1 second. I just wanted
all
to
right.
get some other voices in. Sorry, just we have a lot of people that are requesting to speak, and Maze, it's good to see you on stage. Hi, everybody. I see Free a song, if you don't mind, if you want to
Yeah, man.
contribute.
Okay, thank you,
And
man.
I would
We
also
do.
love to. So I know Yehuda. There was a question that was made earlier that I'd like to just put out there too, and it's thrown around a lot as if people agree or disagree whether Hamas is freedom fighters. And I think, John, you asked this. Is it possible to be able to say that personally, absolutely not, they are not freedom fighters, but for the people of Gaza who didn't see another way out, that they are freedom fighters for them? And how do you address those people in moving forward? So I just wanted to throw that out there because I know for a fact that I think that there's other ways of
Can I
being able
ask you a
to,
question then? That's a really great
yeah.
question. So if
Hey,
if
Barbara.
they're regarded as freedom fighters for the Palestinian people, when they take over Israel because they get that land, are they going to still enjoy the freedom under that same leadership of their freedom fighters?
Exactly. So that's why, for
They're going to
example, when
still
the
enjoy all the freedoms under Hamas. Okay, all right, that's
no,
I've
delusional.
got
But
to
no,
I'd like to
no.
add a couple of
What I
points to
no,
that.
give me 1 second.
Barbara,
Give me 1
That's
second. What
yes, John,
what I
go
meant
ahead.
what I meant was exactly. I don't think so. Right? I think they're still going to be under a terrorist organization, and so that goes back to, did they have another option?
Well, they do,
But let's go
yes.
to
I'd like
let's
to
go to
answer
Freya
that.
Song. Just that's great.
Okay.
Can we go to Freya Song, and then that way we can try to balance the stage a little bit.
Thank you, Diana. Finally, okay. Going
But
back to
wait
the
a
same
second. Freya Song has spoken more than once, and John has tried to get in here several
Barbara.
times,
Exactly.
Barbara.
and
Yeah.
he
Oh,
has been
I didn't see
unsuccessful.
Barbara,
I
this
didn't
is
see
really
John
this is
Ledger.
astonishing. I
Freya Song,
mean,
just give me one
I
quick
never got a
second.
turn, by the way.
Let's have John
I'm
Ledger
just
go,
trying to be
and
a little
then
more balanced over here, and
yeah, no, I didn't
trying to
see
move the
it's
mic
not
around.
fair
him.
and balanced, Barbara. I have
Okay,
Listen,
Freya
guys,
Song.
listen, real quick. Diana's going to moderate the room. Okay. So everybody just flow with Diana. I'm trying to eat. Been hungry. This is work. Okay. Diana, let's go.
All right, he'll be back soon. Freya Song. I would love to
okay.
hear John
Thank you,
Ledger,
dear.
and after John, you're
Okay.
Yeah,
welcome to
I
unmic.
was
Hi,
only
John.
trying to clarify that the are they freedom fighters isn't a yet. It's not a yes or no question. It's, are they freedom fighters or are they terrorists? So it's kind of that was always the question. Nelson asked this question every night in the room. That was the question, not yet. Are they freedom fighters? And then kind of yes or no. But I'll let it keep going.
Okay, about the BBC report which we talked earlier, Nelson, I have pulled up the clip. I listened to the clip again, and I have tweeted also. In that clip, a BBC reporter is clearly saying that he was allowed, along with Fox News reporter, taken by IDF into the Al Shifa hospital. They inspected. They were taken to a few places which IDF allowed, including MRI room, where they found 2 Kalashnikovs instead of 1, which was earlier in the video. And they said that they were not did not see any command and control center. So BBC has now categorically said that they were taken inside, as Colonel John Spencer said that they were not, and I think Yehuda was saying they were not. I can
No,
play the clip. I
here,
have sent you
yeah.
the clip.
I
Hold
was
on. Let me
on
finish.
BBC last night.
Let me finish, sir. Let me finish. I have listened to the clip now 4 times. I have tweeted.
Yeah,
Nelson
they
can
went to
pin up
one
there, and
building.
anybody can
Now
hear.
the
BBC reporter. Hold on. Let me complete my thing, sir. BBC reporter has said that along with Fox News reporter, they were both organizations reporters were taken inside Al Shifa hospital by IDF, taken a tour of places which they were allowed to go with them, and including that MRI room. So, and he said that they did not see any command and control center. They were not taken any, if there is any or there is not, or they are not showing us, but they did not see. That means all the drama which we were told 2 weeks ago and all the attack and destruction of the hospital, it was on false pretenses, just like another weapons of mass destruction of 2003, Colin Powell's lies to the United
All
Nations,
right, hey,
killing 1 million Iraqis,
There's
killing
nearly
1 million
30
Iraqis and
buildings.
destroying entire Iraq on
You
sham,
stop
bogus and
screaming.
false
Stop
lies.
screaming.
And every Palestinian is a freedom fighter, no matter who is born today or he is going to get born tomorrow. Every Palestinian, until they are free, they are all freedom fighters. Every single
Okay.
Palestinian, loud and clear, without
Diane,
any
give me
fear.
10 seconds. 10
I'd like
seconds.
to answer a couple of points.
Okay, give me 1 second. You guys have me shooting here like I'm at the range. I'm a fast muter. So if you guys are flowing, don't stop. Just keep going. I will mute those trying to interrupt. You guys, we really want
Yeah,
to
I'd,
hear the
I'd like to.
10
discussion. Okay,
seconds
this is
on the
great.
hospital. 10 seconds on the
Okay, go
Okay.
hospital.
ahead, John,
All
and then
right.
I want to
So
go after John.
we're gonna do 10 seconds
And
on the
I've
hospital,
waited an
John,
hour.
then Piotr, and then we're gonna go to Intel. Okay, that order. Let's go.
10 seconds on the hospital complex. Can you please look up a map of the Shifa hospital complex and look where the MRI building is and where the tunnel opening is? It is not the Shifa hospital, the main building. You're so wrong. It's not even funny.
So the journalist that he's talking about is someone called Jeremy Bowen. He's one of the most respected international journalists in like history. What he made, to be clear, whilst he says that the suggestions around the IDF over the hospital have yet to be determined, he also hasn't said that it's not the case. Right? He's very particular with his words, and the BBC were one of the first, if not the only, organisation to really have a thorough walk around the hospital. But he said that there may be some areas of the hospital that the IDF have not shown to the BBC. He acknowledges that the media is at the behest of the IDF forces, simply that they can only go where they're told. But equally, that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a command center. We don't know. This is the fog of war, and the Israeli may well be keeping the actual command center. Not that it's a physical just room. A command center is a big structure and system of places, right? That they're keeping this area on the lowdown because they want to try and draw out more Hamas fighters or
All
create a
right.
certain
Let
Can
me
we
image,
jump
can
right?
we
in,
just state
please.
some
It's been
facts,
a
The
while.
please?
last
May I
point I just
jump
want to
in?
raise,
It's
hang on,
been a
guys.
while.
Yeah, 1 second, guys.
We're gonna go
I
to
just wanted to talk
Intel
about
right after
post-war
Piotr.
things.
Just
Yeah, I
just so
just
that
have
they know
one
the order.
point.
Right after
It's
we wrap
quite
up
late here.
Intel.
Thank you, Diana. Sorry, I'm going to go in a minute because it's late here for me. So all I'm going to say is that the post-war situation, we're talking about Palestinian Authority, we're talking about Hamas, right? The Israelis have made it fundamentally clear that they do not want to see any kind of government, any kind of authority in Gaza that involves Hamas. Now, again, getting rid of Hamas in a physical sense is easier said than done, and you might be able to severely weaken Hamas, but to govern the actual Gaza Strip might well mean you're having to come some kind of coalition with Palestinian Authority, Fatah, which is the political arm that governed Gaza before. It's not that simple to say Gaza, Hamas gone, and suddenly now rainbows and unicorns again. And this is part of the post-war sort of process that takes, excuse my French, fucking ages, and you need to plan the sooner the better. But anyway, that's all I want to put in the minds of people. Thanks.
Can I respond, please,
Thanks.
Diana?
Intel, you
It's may I.
how
May I.
let's so Intel has
Yeah,
been waiting. If you can respond quickly just to finish up what Piotr said, and then Intel, and then Yehuda, and then Tamim.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll be very quick. I think it's important that we establish some facts here. Facts are important. Okay, Al Shifa Hospital is, in fact, a hospital. They enjoy medical immunity in warfare. It is a war crime to target and to attack military infrastructure. We know this to be a fact. If the IDF has determined that Al Shifa is a command center for the combatants and that they are, in fact, targeting Al Shifa Hospital as a command center for the combatants, they have the burden of proof. This is very important. They have the burden of proof to prove that that medically immune facility is a harbinger for combatant activity against the IDF. Unless and until they prove that, they have committed war crimes. That's simple. Point blank, period. It is their burden. So if we're still waiting, we're considering, we're looking around, we're thinking about it, it looks like it's supposed to be a command center. If they don't establish the predicate that there was military activity happening out of this hospital, they have essentially confessed to the open world that they are complicit in war criminality. I want to respond after other people go, please, because I have a lot I want to say. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll keep the
What?
first part in regards to the other speaker. It's not showing everyone. In terms of bringing up the BBC again, Al Shifa Hospital Complex is about 1 square mile in size. There's nearly 30 buildings and structures on that complex. We, the public, have only seen footage from one building, which is known as the MRI complex building. And then we saw some photos of a truck next to an structure that had been bulldozed on the northeastern end of the facility, where they said that they breached the top of a tunnel. We do have we had the whole debate back and forth about Amnesty International. To the person who wants to use Amnesty International, back in 2014, they detailed that one of the outpatient clinic buildings at Al Shifa had been shut down and was no longer being used by hospital staff and had been converted into an interrogation, holding, and torture facility. And that was way back in 2014. And then today, yesterday and today, the IDF announced that they found hostage corpses at the facility. It's likely going to be at that same facility that Amnesty International highlighted years and years ago as the outpatient building clinic. But again, we've only seen footage as the public of the MRI building. In terms of the war crimes, it's great that people are all of a sudden interested in war crimes. Let's go through some crimes that Hamas is committing. One, they're not uniformed. That's a war crime. We know Hamas has uniforms because they've done parades, tons and tons of parades. They got black uniforms with patches. They got identification. They got bandanas. But for whatever reason, since October 7th, they haven't worn it. So they're running around dressed as civilians with no identification markers. That's war crime number one. In terms of medical facilities, let's go through a couple of those. In Article 28 of the 1949 Geneva Convention says the presence of protected person may not be used to render certain points or areas immune from military operations. So if, say, a hospital is being used by military personnel, that's illegal.
You have to
Hamas
prove
is doing
that. You have to prove that.
Yes.
The
And
exact
Israel, I
opposite
think,
is also
has been
correct,
proving
that you
that,
have
right?
to prove it.
Yes, and Israel has been proving that. They've been digging up weapons at this facility, and hell, even Hamas's own Palestinian media, right? They had Quds News Network and Al Jazeera were interviewing people earlier before IDF entered the complex, and there was
The
the older
medical
gentleman
doctors
that
and
said that there
directors
were
of that
fighters in the
hospital
building.
said that that hospital was not being used for military activity.
Except
There
there's
was no
literally
command
patients
center,
in the
and they have
hospital.
not.
Patients in the hospital literally said, why doesn't Hamas go somewhere else? They're here in the hospital with us. But let's go through other war crimes. Article 12, subsection 4 of the 1977 Additional Protocol 1 provides, under no circumstances shall medical units be used in an attempt to shield military objectives from attack. Whenever possible, the parties to the conflict shall ensure that medical units are so sited that attacks against military objectives do not imperil their safety. Additional Protocol 1 of Article 51, subsection 7 of the 1977 Additional Protocol 1 says the presence or movement of the civilian population or individual civilians shall not be used to render certain points or areas immune from military operations, in particular in attempts to shield military objectives from attack or to shield, favor, or impede military operations. The parties to the conflict shall not direct the movement of the civilian population or individual civilians in order to attempt to shield military objective from attack or to shield military operations. Yet again, more war crimes from Hamas. They've literally been posting it loud and proud on social media, right? IDF has blasted for over a month saying, evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. We're doing operations in these areas. You can go on every Palestinian media branch or Hamas spokesperson. They say, we live in our homes and we die in our homes. Don't listen to it. Don't evacuate. Then you also have ICC statute pursuant to Article 8, subsection 2B of the 1998 ICC statute, utilizing the presence of a civilian or other protected person to render certain points areas where military forces immune from military operation constitutes a war crime, international armed conflict. Again, that's another crime that Hamas is doing. And this also goes back to they know that these sites are supposed to be, keyword, supposed to be immune, and they're operating out of in blatant disregard to the norms and rules of established warfare. What is a military objective? Because that's the next point, right? Because all these rules talk about, like, you can't do this. Well, what's a military objective? Attacks may only be directed against military objectives. So in this case, right, talking about Gaza, did the building constitute as a military objective? Under the laws of armed
Diana,
conflict,
can I respond when he's done reading those talking points, please?
an objective qualifies as a military objective if it makes effective
Yeah.
contribution to enemy military action by its nature, location, purpose, or use, and its partial or total destruction, capture, or neutralization in the circumstance ruling at the time offers definitive military advantage.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know, let me just say this right here, because you've been going on for a while there, man. And I just had to wake back up. I'm so sorry about that. But you know, and all good stuff there, man. And I agree with everything that you're reading. I agree with it, man. You know, but you know, I want to get some of the people on the stage that don't agree, that think that you're probably that things are being framed. Anyone on the stage that has a different opinion?
Yes, I do.
Let's
And
do it.
I'll be brief. Everything that you just read off there means diddly squat to me and probably a lot of people on the stage. Nobody is casting Hamas as the moral high ground. Nobody's casting, or at least not that I've heard, Hamas as the standard bearer for what's considered a war crime and what's not. It's actually the opposite. IDF has displayed blatantly and for the world to see that they're taking offensive actions against the majority civilian population, densely populated, and that those military actions have resulted in an overburdensome degree of civilian deaths. They have to justify that. Okay, so since you're reading off war crimes, right? Let's talk about war crimes. War
Putting a
crimes are
rocket launcher in a
targeting the
school full
explicit
of children.
targeting of military infrastructure.
All right. Back in building, god damn it. Let me get one mic on TC to spew his bullshit, and then I definitely want to go to Intel. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. John Legend, did you fuck this guy's cell phone up?
Yeah.
All right, let me just prove this point real quick and I'm done, right?
Let's
If
go,
I'm a
man.
commander, right? If I'm a commander in the US military and there is a house that is holding, that I believe is holding terrorist targets, combatants that we want to kill because they've killed us, right? And I tell my platoon and I direct them to bomb that house, even though I know it has innocent women and children in that house. I command them to bomb that house. Guess who's getting drawn up on and court-martialed and drawn up on charges, getting dishonorably discharged from the military? It's that commander. You know why? Because the commander cannot command to blow up and bomb a house just because it's known to have terrorists. So if the commander in the U.S. military is subject to disciplinary actions, court-martialing, and dishonorable discharge, then why the fuck is IDF moving in with impunity, targeting hospitals, and can't prove a shekel of one terrorist that's in
A
that facility?
shekel? What?
It's a shekel. You
Dude,
heard what the fuck I said? I'll say it
find
again. A
your fucking
shekel. And listen,
anti-Semitism, you
it's
fucking
shocking.
racist
It's
fuck.
shocking to me. It's shocking to me
I'm
that
shocked
you
by your
guys have such
bullshit.
hypocrisy that you will defend the right of Ukraine. Okay, defend the right of Ukraine.
And what was racist? The
He's a racist and is a
someone's picking cotton, that's a racist comment. So
Shut up.
cool connotation to a Jewish monetary value. So this, he's super smart. You're edgy. You're not edgy. You're a racist, Jew-hating fuck. And
Everybody is a Jew hater according to you. I'm so tired of hearing that.
No, and
Do you know that it rings like it literally?
One mic, guys. One mic.
God
one mic.
damn, Jonathan Bing, man. What the fuck is going on here, man?
Nah, I want to know what a shekel
Hey, no,
was, man. That's all.
Yehuda.
Not.
I thought it was like money.
It is nomenclature in American linguistics, so it's not racist. It's not.
Oh,
It's
fuck you.
anti-Semitic.
It's fucking
Here's the
Jewish money, you
problem.
fucking
They're
racist.
so
Here's the
offended.
problem. Here's the
No,
problem.
no,
Shut up, N-word.
But real quick, like real talk, like I'm pretty sure I've heard that word a lot, especially when I was a kid, you know, back in Africa. Like shekel is usually like when it's said in Africa, it's usually referring to like money. You know, so it's the first time I've ever heard anybody.
Nelson, I
you
gotta.
know,
I'm sorry. Out of principle, if some fucking idiot wants to come up here and say shekel, you're shekel, he's saying Jew money. Okay, Jew money. So fuck
Bro,
you
you're
if you want to keep talking
Yehuda,
about it.
man. You
Shut
hate
up.
to
Shut up.
you
I
hate
hate
to see
racists.
people spitting facts. And every time
Spitting
somebody's
facts.
up here,
Okay, do me a favor. This Nico racist clown from
every
Chicago.
time,
N-word,
why
Oh
you
bro.
guys
my
keep muting me?
N-word.
god,
Why am I
this
being
dude.
Oh,
muted?
sorry. Yeah, because
Everybody's
you're
a
a
racist
racist
all of a
clown.
sudden.
Everybody's
Yeah.
racist, Yehuda.
Let me call. Listen to me. I will call
The
out
kettle
you. I'll
calling
call
the
out
pot
this
black
mace.
is what
I
you
will.
are, bro.
I mean, it's
That's
just
what.
some like
I will call out
it's like you.
fucking Hitler's wife as a racist. I'll call out TCH, who needs to do more of it to get his mind in check. You want to call out the Jew shekel? Screw you. You want to play games? We're tired of it. Guess what? We are enfranchised. We are empowered. And guess what? Israel will
And we are
eradicate
tired
Hamas.
of
And you
you,
can cry all
Yehuda.
your crocodile tears later, because guess what? Israel will win. Your fanboys will lose. It'll be end of the day, end of the story. Goodbye. No one cares. I'm sick of defending the right for Jews to exist as people. You want to say the shekel? You know what? You sound like a goddamn white
Cotton
supremacist
picking.
stormfront idiot from some
Jonathan, he's talking
goddamn
about me, bro.
website, and
Cotton
it
picking.
doesn't work. You're not going to win. You will lose, and we will win.
that describes what Yehuda is doing on the stage right now. He's lighting everybody the fuck up, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Crying.
Yo, he
Hey,
called him
yo.
everything but the N-word and the cotton picker.
I mean, he said TC.
Go
Hey, here's
viral
the
when you
thing.
guys
My name is Nico. I
when you
spelled
keep
taco.
you keep muting us.
Yeah,
I mean,
because you're
here.
dumb. You're
in the space right now, man. Listen, if you're enjoying the space, especially if it's your first time out here, need you to do me a favor. Hit the chat feature, bottom right corner, retweet the space. Matter of fact, I'll make it even better. Hit the chat feature, bottom right corner, right? And let me know who on this stage right now is getting you going. Whether it's in a positive way or in a negative way, triggering your ass or entertaining your ass, drop their name in a chat right now. Hit the chat feature, bottom right corner. Drop their name in there right now. I'm about to see a whole lot of Yehudas, I can tell you that. But that being said, let me go to Chief, man. Chief, take us back to the topic.
Nelson, sorry to interrupt you, sir. It's your space. Can I go get some of my friends? Malcolm, I got to
Hell
drop
yeah.
off. Will you bring
needs
me
help.
back? Will you bring me back?
Hell yeah, Yehuda. Come on, man. Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna do it later.
So you bringing more machine
He
guns?
needs help. That's what.
Bye,
He needs help.
Yehuda.
Brother.
Are we doing
would love
AKs like Hamas, or what we doing, man? We doing
it's
M16s
worse
like the
than
US?
You gonna kill kids like Israel? Is that what you're doing?
Shit.
I am a racist monkey. This guy's a clown. This
Damn,
guy's
you
a
called him a
friggin'
monkey.
Did he
clown.
just
Damn, why
fucking
didn't you
say
just say
that? Y'all let him
monkey?
get away
Hey,
with
yo,
that
dog.
shit?
Going viral. Going viral.
The guy
I love
deserves
this.
to be
Fucking
in the suit. He's a
crybaby.
racist Jew
You
hater.
are
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the hottest show on Spaces. Goddamn it. Welcome to the show, man. All right, let's go to Chief. Chief, let's go. Let's talk about it, man. Jump in.
No, well, I mean, I think.
That had to be John Legend cutting off your T-Mobile signal. Had to be.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, he just turned you back on. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I was listening to space a little bit. I think a big point about this is trying to talk to the other side and explain your position. And I think if anything, we heard from this discussion that he's done a great job of just showing people exactly how his side perceives us. I thought it was pretty funny because if just based on some person that's like no clue what's going on, or just personally that's too read up on the politics or this geopolitical issue, is calling everybody here racist, awful, white supremacist, then really, we're trying to have a good dialogue here and discuss the actual issues and policies. And apparently, he's trying to get some more friends or something to help him out. I'm not sure what that means, but I would say, for him, I actually want to ask if he is in support of the blockade that was instilled by Israel onto the Gaza civilians, and if he believes that action of blockading and the preventing of water and food to reach the Gaza civilians is self-defense. I'm curious.
Ayo, fact check. IDF's delivered 1,300 trucks worth of food, medical supplies, and water to Gaza, and they're also making humanitarian corridors.
So the context is this. In the very beginning of this conflict, right, 2 days after it, the 9th, they said not a drop of water. This is from the IDF's own mouth.
Yeah, they've
Their own
delivered
memos.
1,300 trucks of food,
Real
medical
quick, it'd be
aid, and
great.
water.
If I could finish, it'd be great. So they had a memo. You can read this all on IDF's website. Their own actual memos that said they're not allowing any water or food in. And this blockade was there for a decent amount of time. And for the people who don't know this, you die for 3 days without any water. The week will die without food. That's the general time frame for each person. Now, each person is different, of course. Different, time frames for each person if they're older or younger or whatever. But the point still stands that you will die without food or water. And there was a blockade that was in effect that did not allow those important necessities to flood in. And this action wasn't just targeting Hamas, it was targeting the people in Gaza. Now, in North Gaza, there's about 1 million people who were in that region. And per IDF's own estimates, and this is just IDF's numbers here, so I'm not using any Hamas or Palestinian numbers, I went by their own sources. They estimate that about over 100,000 people were still in North Gaza, according to the IDF's own numbers. So that would mean that the blockade would be impacting the 100,000 or so members of the Gaza civilians. And with Hamas, they are still in that region, yet their actions of the blockade
Blah,
are
blah, blah.
punishing
How
the
quick do you
Gaza
die?
civilians.
Mute out, bro.
So I
Let
just
him
didn't
finish.
know
Let him
that was a
finish.
acceptable action from Israel. And if you think that the blockade was impacting the civilians, and if you think that was a appropriate response for self-defense and not collective punishment.
Yeah, so in terms of the blockade, I don't know if M has been in this particular space, but so the blockade started in 2007, right? Let's go back 2 years before 2007, 2005, when Israel pulled out. When Israel pulled out and said, "This is yours now," right? Israel told the Gazans, "This is yours now. We're leaving. You can do what you want." Right? They had an election, and there was no blockade. And in 2005, after that handover happened, Egypt, Israel, and the Palestinian Authority signed an agreement. It was the agreement of movement and access, which laid out how they're going to do trade and everything's going to be hunky-dory, looking good. That worked splendidly for 2 years, no issues. What did that deal entail? Egypt would run the Rafah border crossing. Israel would run their 2 border crossings. And within Gaza, the Palestinian Authority would be trained up. They'd have a crew assembled and be trained on pretty much doing border crossing operations. Right? They'd be trained on security and screening, and they'd all be on the same page so that they could have an effective border control point. Right? And then all of this was to be monitored by a European Union mission that would observe all 3 border crossing points to make sure that Israel, Palestinian Authority, and the Egyptians were all getting along and that the borders were open and free. That changed in 2007 when Hamas took over and started throwing the Fatah leaders off the roof. And they killed their own border guards that had been trained on running the border point. And the European Union pulled out. And then Egypt was like, okay, Egypt and Israel approached Hamas and said, we have this agreement on movement of goods and services. Will you abide by this agreement? And Hamas said no, because we don't recognize any treaty, any negotiations that have been done, and we will not negotiate with Israel, and we do not recognize these agreements. And so the agreement became null and void. And then in 2008, Hamas then went to the Egyptian side of the border. They strapped explosives along several hundred meters of the border wall, detonated it, and had 750,000 Palestinians bum rush into the Sinai and ransack every village for days across the Sinai Peninsula, and they killed multiple border guards. And that's the reason for the blockade. Israel and Egypt both said, you have refused to acknowledge this international document that had been signed. You killed our border guards. You killed your border guards. They built along that 8 miles of border, 40 miles of walls, machine gun
Egypt.
They flooded them with seawater and sewage. And in terms of Egypt, in terms of the water, right? Israel only provides 7%.
We got to
Yeah,
land.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Egypt, sorry, Israel only provides 7%. Israel provides only 7% of the water supply into Gaza. And in terms of electricity, they provide not that much either. Over 50% of Gaza's electricity is self-produced. Egypt provides another 20%, and Israel does the rest, like that last 20. So even if Israel wants to do a full-blown blockade, right, like the minister said, no food, no fuel, no water, it's not very effective because only 7% of the water is coming in. And in terms of Israel's actions, they've been sending in tons of humanitarian aid, and the Egyptians have let supplies flow through Rafah into Gaza. And there's also an assemblage of ships that I've been posting about that has been pretty much been anchoring off Cyprus, and they've been hammering out this initiative to start a maritime corridor from Cyprus to Gaza port once the north is clear.
Right.
So, well,
And there's four hospital ships that Israel has let get
Intel, I need to land you, brother. Come on, man.
If I could hop in, because what he did.
Chief, let's go.
Yeah, so this is what he did. He had the history of 2005, 2007, and I was very careful not to even bring that up. The point I'm making is during this conflict. And I do that because a lot of times people try purposely against the weeds about this and say, well, here's the history of the blockade, and here's what the conflict started in the 2005 to 2007. In reality, what happened was, in his own words, he just admitted that, yes, there is a blockade, which was what I said, which is true. And then he also said that during this conflict, they did have the Israeli people saying no food, no water, and all of that. And if you look at the actual numbers, even before the Gaza conflict we're seeing today, the water they were getting on average per day in liters was not really that much compared to the Western nations, which is not good. But then during the conflict, it got to 3 liters. That's the average they got. 3 liters of water for not just drinking, but for hygiene, for washing their hands, for
because
shower.
Hamas ripped up the water pipes and proudly displayed his rockets.
if I can again finish, because I'm trying to land my plane quickly and not filibuster. The point is that during this conflict, as he's just said and admitted, that Israel wanted to have no food, no water. That's their own words. That's IDF's own words, not Hamas's. Hamas didn't make them say that. That's not Hamas. It's not Palestine making them say that. This is their own word. This is what they did. That's their actions. And this action, is that really self-defense? Is the action of blockading self-defense? And does he admit that that action was intended to impact the majority would be Gaza civilians. The majority of people who would be impacted by that blockade would not be Hamas. It'd be the Palestinian civilians who are still there. And by
They
their own
don't
admission, number,
control the
by
ability to
their own,
stop
excuse me.
Gazans from eating or drinking. That's the dumb part. You keep
So
saying
if I
this
could interrupt, be
nonsense.
interrupted by someone, that'd be great.
One second, everybody, meet out. One mic on Chief. One mic on Chief.
Yeah.
Chief, let's go.
I just want to talk to. I'm talking to Intel, not to someone, a random person. I'm asking, do you concede that this blockade action is going to majority impact the Gaza civilians and
No,
not Hamas?
because Israel barely provides for the food, fuel, electricity, and other infrastructure
water.
needs to Gaza. Like they barely that. Israel is not the main contributor of basic goods and services to the Gaza Strip. A lot of it is domestic, and the majority comes from Egypt.
Yeah,
So
and
to say that Israel is doing collective punishment is simply not false. And yes, these statements, which are not okay, right? I don't think anyone would agree that the statement by the energy minister guy is not a good statement to make. Especially when you're at war. But the point is, like, even if they had every ill intent and malice to execute such brutal tactics, right? They don't have the ability to do so because they barely contribute in the first place. And when we look at what the IDF has done in action, they have been letting humanitarian aid flow, even from Israel, into Gaza, and the Egyptians have also been letting aid flow. And there's currently the works
All right, let me respond.
of
So
the International
because I need
Maritime
to respond to
Corridor.
me everything with a response, and then so for Intel, so what day exactly did Israel allow the first wave of 20 trucks, UN trucks, to get into Gaza in that region? What day was that actually? Because before they weren't allowed
That was
to
the
go in.
Egyptians. The Egyptians have their own requirements on operating the Rafah border crossing. Those trucks from Egypt were delayed due to Egypt's own domestic politics on whether or not the border should be open, because Egypt's been going through a crisis since 2011. The Sinai insurgency, which has been caused huge issues for Egypt, and the two main groups that have been doing this, you got Tawhid al-Jihad, which is a splinter al-Qaeda group, and you got Islamic State Sinai Province. And the personnel that form those two groups are over majority Palestinians who go from Gaza through tunnels into Egypt, and they pretty much commit bombing, stabbings, and shooting.
I'm sure you'll lay the point later. So you're basically saying that it's Egypt's fault that there was no trucks that went into Gaza. Is that your claim?
From Rafah, yeah. Egypt controls the Rafah border crossing, not
So
Israel.
it was not Egypt's fault. So sorry, not Israel's fault. Israel had no responsibility or no influence on
Egypt
Egypt.
has no responsibility over the operation of Rafah. That is an Egyptian border crossing that does not border Israel, and Israel has nothing to do with the operations of Rafah.
Guys, real quick. We're going back and forth on bullshit, in my opinion, right? Bullshit. Okay. And, all these debates about history and what's fucking happened and blah, 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 blah. Everyone's going to believe whatever the fuck they want to believe. That's it. End of discussion. Right. The most important thing right now is what happens next. Okay. Now, just going back to the topic of the discussion, which is something I do want us to debate and talk about. Right. The IDF, the possibility of these guys moving south. Okay. And here's why this is coming up. SHIFA Hospital. We were told underneath is the headquarters of Hamas. They got the tunnels. They got the bombs. They got the fucking every goddamn thing. The conference table, round table. That's where it goes down underneath the SHIFA Hospital. Here's the deal, though. SHIFA Hospital has been raided, and we haven't seen a goddamn thing to that effect. As of right now, it may be there, who knows, right? But we haven't seen a goddamn thing right now. That's a fact, okay? Now, the former Israeli prime minister, and I actually pinned this to the very top of the space. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. Right, so yeah, look at the very top of the space, swipe to the right, you're going to find it. The former Israeli prime minister essentially came out to say, hey, Hamas headquarters are in Khan Yunis in the south of Gaza. They're not in, they're not in the north. Okay. And he's like, hey, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have told you the same goddamn thing. They're in Khan Yunis, which is in the southern part of Gaza. Now, the problem, though, is Israel has already, migrated a significant amount of individuals from North to South Gaza. Okay. We know as of right now, Israel's focused on the north. But again, going back to what Netanyahu has said numerous times, hey, we will eradicate Hamas. Now, is it reasonable to assume that Israel will move to the south in order to do just that, especially considering that Hamas headquarters are actually in Khan Yunis? Now, the issue that I'm having here, the little dilemma that I'm having here is this. Fucking northern Gaza is already leveled. Buildings down, I mean, done. Where the fuck are those innocent civilians in South Gaza going to go to? Because they definitely can't go back up north.
Oh my God, they can.
I got the answer, actually. I have the answer
Let me go to Chief. Let me go to Chief for this one, and I'll toss to Yehuda. Let's bounce it back and forth. Debate. Let's go.
Yeah. So I actually have the answer, and it's from Israel's own words in their 10-page memo in a biannual budget on page 40. They were talking about the moving of the civilians to Egypt, to the deserts there, and then to expel them to other Arab nations and to Canada, for example. That's what Israel's own memo from the leaked document from the Ministry of Intelligence said. So that's the plan from Israel, to go and expel the Gaza civilians into Egypt.
There's no such thing as the Ministry of Intelligence. Get it right.
This is Israel's own documents. And they all confirm
it's not the Ministry of Intelligence. There's no such thing.
They literally confirmed that document. Are you denying that their own words?
Sweet
Are you denying
God
that
Almighty.
it's the
Yes,
document?
I'm denying your characterization of it.
So hold on. So is your point that it's not an Israeli intelligence document? Is that not the memo?
My point is the government is diverse and stupid, and someone did post that.
It was one rogue officer who made.
No, it wasn't one rogue officer. There's like 20% of the government that are racist psychopaths.
So
Egypt,
this is great. I'm glad people now hear that document's real. It was in Israel, and there's some chain of command that had to make that.
So the Prime Minister says it's not true. The Prime Minister says it's not true. Then what?
They said it was true.
The Prime Minister said it's not true. You're a liar.
Hold on. How about this? I'll put those sources on the Jumbotron.
It was a brief.
Yeah,
bring it up to the panel.
Yeah, I'll put it up right now.
1 second. Let him finish.
Wait.
Finish, bro.
Yeah. So in 5 seconds, I'll put it up right here for you to look at, because this is a very public thing that was going on for a very long time. It's pretty common knowledge from what I believed. If you look at the document, I'll put it up in the Jumbotron in 2 seconds here. I want you to explain when Israel. They said it was a real document.
Sure, I'll explain it.
Yeah, go for it. So I'll mute myself here. I'll get
I got it.
And then I'll dig a whole bit deeper and explain how it's not an official document.
Cool story. For people who aren't used to governments or democracy or people that talk, it sounds pretty bad. It's, oh my God, So I'm certainly not a defender of the current Israeli government before the unity government, the wartime cabinet. So Benjamin Netanyahu has all sorts of psychopaths in his government because that's the only way he was able to form a majority coalition government, right, with weirdos. So someone in the government said, well, we should do this or that. Whereas the Israeli government has clearly stated what they'll do is they're going to bisect Gaza, they're going to eradicate Hamas in the north, they're going to switcheroo with the population. How that happens, I'm not exactly sure. However, it is not impossible. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. They want to bring the population of southern Gaza to north of Gaza and eradicate Hamas and Khan Yunis. Not rocket science. If you hate Israel and you think everything they do is wrong, yes, it's very simple to believe. But the reality is this. Israel knows, under all the international agreements it signed, that Gaza will be one of the parts of an independent Palestine. And there are some people in the Israeli government, because the Israeli government is filled with lots of different people from Israel. If you want to criticize their position, criticize it. Just say this is a demonstration of the diversity in opinion in the Israeli government. But when you say this is what the Israelis want to do, you're not being honest. You're not being honest to yourself.
So
Let me finish, because trust me, let me finish. Trust me. I had to bite my tongue listening to you. If you want to say you're not a fan of the Israeli government, that's fine. It's in a very eclectic bunch. However, with the wartime cabinet unity government, Benny Gantz, who is a former Ramatkal, chief of defense staff, is not on board with that. It's not going to happen. The Americans have made it clear, the EU, everyone who supports Israel said, Israel, look, we support you in defeating Hamas, but you cannot dislodge Palestinians from Gaza. So in the meantime, you can talk a lot of bullcrap and say this, that, and the other, but it doesn't make it true. You're not an expert. You're not from the Middle East. You didn't serve in the IDF. I have no idea who Chief Trumpster is. It might be Chief Dumpster, the way you're talking. And frankly, you
Personal
shouldn't
tax
be
don't help the
influenced.
argument.
It's a
Don't help the
personal attack.
argument.
It's your name, not my name. If you want to influence public opinion, you should learn a lot more about the Middle East before you do so. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't go to the baker to fix my car, and I wouldn't go to you to tell me about Israel. Thanks.
So I'll respond here real quick. So there's a thing called self-control, and a lot of times people on the other side don't have that. They can't really help themselves from smearing and insulting people just because they don't
You're
have an
speaking
argument.
very quickly. Can you slow down?
Yeah, well, you have the hard
You
time
might be
listening.
nervous.
So I
You
put
might
this.
be
How about
nervous.
this? You actually have
Are you nervous?
You can read.
Yehuda,
Actually,
let him
what
respond to you,
right?
bro.
So you see, he's interrupting again. If you maybe you can't listen, maybe he has a hard time with that. Maybe if you can read, actually, put the document
Please,
up
no ad
from
hominems. I'm so
972
scared.
So 972 Magazine's the source is up there. You can read yourself. Stop zip, and then you can read the document. It specifically says within Israel, the Israel document. The source is pretty in depth, actually. This is a big release from them.
Big scholar.
So we have this. I'll read this for you if you can't read it yourself.
Oh no, no ad hominems.
Says,
I can't read.
Bro, Yehuda, you gotta let this guy respond to you,
But
brother.
don't
You
tell
cut him off every second.
this
Every
guy
5
tells me I
seconds, bro.
can't read.
Damn.
Bro, it doesn't matter, goddamn it. I mean, you told
he's
him he sounds
triggered
like a
as fuck.
fucking idiot. Bro, you triggered as a motherfucker. Grab a goddamn Xanax. Somebody fill this guy up with fucking Xanax already. Like, goddamn.
Nelson, is it all right if I do a quick?
Nah, bro, mute your mic, man. One mic on Chief. Listen.
I was just asking if I could circle through.
Hell to the no, goddamn. Listen, this is not a pro-Israeli space, okay? Neither is it a pro-fucking Palestinian space. But I'm definitely not going to lean 70-30, okay? We got to get one mic on the Palestinians, too.
I don't want to add anything, Nelson. I'm just asking. It's
Intel, god damn.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
I don't want to add
Intel, bro. I might need to drop you down for a little swim, my brother.
That's literally what I'm trying to ask.
All right, you know what? Go to the Google. Go to the Google. I can't. Dude, there's nothing else I can do, bro. Go to the Google, bro.
Again, self-control is a big problem with that.
Chief, let's go.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm saying this again because, he said the first attack was, whatever my name was. So I responded, I'm kind of playing it around with that same fashion. He doesn't like it too much. So the document again, with the 972 magazine, I recommend you guys read that. It's a very good document. And again, the document specifically talks about how, yes, it's real. It's a real document. And it talked about expelling the Gaza civilians to Egypt, then creating a very long border, fencing or walling essentially, and then to expel the Gaza civilians from the Egyptian tent cities to other Arab nations and Canada, actually.
How would they expel people from Egypt? You're dumb. You're being dumb.
So if you can, again...
you're lying.
Yehuda, let's let him land. One mic. Yehuda, let's let him land, bro, because it seems like when you interrupt, it seems like you don't want him to get the point out because he's making a good point. Let's not do that.
Yeah, and he's making a great case for us.
Shut up and just finish your dumb point.
I'm having a hard time. I'm having a great time with this. Yeah, read the document first and he can respond. But so that's the document up there. You can read it yourself. And it's pretty clear that the Gaza civilians are going to be moving to Egypt, according to Israel, their own memo. And then the memo says that they'll be going to other Arab nations. And they actually want the United States to apply diplomatic pressure to ensure this process happens. And another point also is that Netanyahu said they want to indefinitely, essentially control the security of Gaza. What does that mean? Indefinitely control security. It means to what? And station their own troops, their own personnel into Gaza. This is Netanyahu, not some random person from some ministry, which may not be a reliable source, is what their side might claim.
I can't deal with this anymore. The guy's lying through.
Yeah, if he's having a hard time tonight.
Yeah.
He's having a hard time. So yeah, that's now his own words, and he has a hard time finding sources too. So I put the source up there. You can read it. When you've read the thing from point A to point B, the very bottom, you can then respond.
Okay.
But it's very clear,
I read it.
concise, and gets to the point. So
read
I'll
it.
leave the plan there. I had a very good time with that. So if he wants to respond to me without melting down, he can do so, and I'll gladly respond after he's done talking. I won't
Blah
interrupt.
blah blah. Honestly, I read this 972 thing. So basically, the guys put an article from the fucking Nazis of the Middle East and said, "Oh, the Nazis said this about the Jews." So I want to believe it. You're a clown, dude. 972 magazine. Anyone with a half a friggin' brain. I mean, look. No, shut up. I had to listen to your bullshit. If you,
do the same to you.
yeah, hey, Chief Dumpster. If you have if you're literally a half a functioning human being, anyone in the world, and hey, shut up.
Yeah, one second, guys. This is not a good listening experience. I mean, we want you guys to go back and forth, but not like this, man.
Yeah,
it sounds like
I'm done. Yeah, I'll be quiet.
like my children.
Okay. So the guy put up an article from literally the modern day Goebbels, stormtrooper, neo-Nazi bullshit, and he wants us to look at it and go, oh, they said it's true. 972 magazine isn't a credible source. 972mag.com is literally an anti-Semitic conspiracy website, and I'm supposed to look at that and say, "Oh, because Chief Trumpster says it's true." Like, dude, you sound like a white supremacist. You sound like a race.
Up there.
Shut up. You listen. I'm done with you. I don't have to be here. I'm here as a pleasure. I'm here as a courtesy to stupid people. You are a racist, and you know what? We've got M. Frankly, M is probably more fresh than me. Jonathan and Nelson, I'm so sorry for being so angry because I'm an angry Jew. I'm bent. I'm vexed. Please, can I yield? Can I yield my time to M?
You're an angry Zionist, huh?
Can I get my time to M, my Muslim brother from another mother?
Drop a fire emoji in the chat. Lord, I've never everybody is triggered as Yehuda tonight. I swear to God. It's crazy shit I ever seen in my lifetime. Oh my God.
Have you ever, honestly, have I ever been this mad? Nelson, have I ever been this mad?
Wait, this is the first time
I'm so mad. I am so
God
mad.
Damn.
Well, I put an ABC article. I put an ABC article.
I feel like I'm talking to the KKK. KKK boy, can we get M? My Muslim brother.
One second,
help me out.
One second, my brother. One second. I got to go to Tamim, man. We got to balance this motherfucker out. Tamim, jump in, brother. Jump in.
Thank you, man, for giving us a chance. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah, bro, I can hear you, man. Voice of Afghans, right? That's you?
Thank you. So first of all, I hope you do not cut me while I'm talking. And
come on, man. That's Yehuda, bro. That's not me.
This is a Taliban guy, bro.
Okay, so Nelson, I don't know if you remember last I came to your space was a few days ago. I didn't appreciate it because I got called names. I was made fun of because you found out that I support the Taliban. Therefore, I was being
oh, you're the guy that supports the Taliban. Oh, shit.
So I hope that kind
of... we got this motherfucker on the stage.
This is the guy you said, go look in the mirror.
This motherfucker.
Well, listen. You see
all right, let's talk about it.
You support the Taliban, huh?
Dumbass! Right, are you guys going to give me a chance to speak, or is it going to be the same...
No, you're good, bro. Talk about it, man. Shout out to the Taliban, man. Hail Taliban. Let's go.
Okay. So first of all, I'm not sure why you commented whatever you commented last time. If you want to know why I support the Taliban, what is the reason, then we can go to that discussion. But regarding Hamas and Israel's situation at the moment, let me make it very clear. Israel is an apartheid state. It's in state of terrorism, acting as a terrorist right now. The definition of terrorist much applies to them. And without a doubt, whatever they're doing right now is a genocide. So for those who are here backing Israel and the state of Israel, let me clarify something. I am not against Jews. I see the difference between a Jew and a Zionist. Therefore, I'm not against a Jew, but I am against of the state of Israel and the Zionist movement. And the reason for that is because after the World War I, the Balfour Declaration, the British decided to favor the Jews of a home in Palestine. They started their occupation from 1917, 1940. Say that again.
Yo, Huda, let the guy talk, bro. Come on, man. Stop jumping in, bro. Let him talk. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Taliban.
so I wanted to clarify that. And regarding Taliban are my people. I come from Afghanistan and I'm Afghan. We independently fought and we were fighting against an occupation force, a force that came to our land and they were bombing us, they were killing us, they were doing things that was against our way of life. Therefore, I do support them and I'm proudly a Taliban. And the word Taliban means student. We are student of knowledge, we're student of religion, and therefore I support my regime. So I don't understand why you made fun of me when I said I support Taliban. I expected you to ask me why do I support the Taliban? Why do I have to stand?
You're a fucking terrorist. That's why.
You a terrorist motherfucker, bro.
Because
Say the guy. You a terrorist motherfucker, man.
Your current state, your current position is that you support a terrorist. It's sometimes to think of it, someone like you who come to my country, you have the intention to come to my country, look at my dignity and dishonor me. I promise I will do that to you. You're more than happy.
Oh my God!
You're by making fun of your opposition. I don't think that's correct, and I'm surprised there's not so much people here listening to this crap.
Wait, can I ask? So aren't you guys
Man,
curious?
the fuck up, man. Man, the fuck up and stop talking about someone. Yeah.
If I came to your house and raped your family and indiscriminately took your house from you and your rights from your children, what would you do? Forget
No
me
one's
individually.
raping your family, you dumbass.
No, you don't know, my friend. You don't know. But I know as my country, my people have suffered from your occupation of U.S. and the NATO. So I know what's happened in my country. You crap. Don't come with that crap like security telling me how I fucking should live and how I should. Yes, I'm gonna fucking terrorize anyone that comes.
You know what? You guys let everybody else talk, but you're not started it.
Maze, you know that women have no
You know what
rights
it is, mate?
in Afghanistan.
This space is entertaining.
Like women literally have.
Let's let him go ahead.
Let Babs jump in. Babs been trying to jump in.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Babs. Let's go.
No, I was just curious, and about your profile picture and all the gentlemen in the background. Who are these boys?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you, and I am curious as to why you're in the Taliban, because you said we don't ask you enough questions. Those
Babs,
are my
they
questions.
call them they call them the Kaboom Squad.
You're gonna get yourselves in. We're gonna get in trouble.
Tamim, let's talk about it, man. Jump in, my brother. Let's go. My Taliban brother from another mother, man. That's my guy. Tamim, jump in.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
She was asking you a question, bro.
So the picture at the background, they are my oldest. They are the ones that fought for independence of my country. They freed my country from the colonial and occupation of the US and NATO and their interest in my country, in my region. So yes, they are the oldest and scholars of my country.
And why are you in the Taliban? And do you believe in women's rights? Like, how do you tell me your thoughts on women?
Yes,
women have a right to listen.
I'm a Muslim, so I'm a Muslim. My stance and the Taliban stance is as Islamic. In Islam, I think Islam was, if you study history, the right that gave to women in Islam no other cultures or any civilization has given.
Right.
Women have listen, please let me finish. I beg you, let me finish, please. Women have every right in Islam. They have every equal right, but there is certain things that we don't agree with. For example,
what is that?
Let me finish. I beg you, don't interfere. Comes to women, when it comes to the display of women, we don't believe in displaying our women, using them as.
Oh, Mike,
Yeah, but
said,
I haven't finished. Let me
yeah,
finish,
go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Who decided dress code is the state and the government. In my country, that code is decided by Lord, by our God, which we believe in a scripture, the holy scripture of the Quran. And the Quran describes and prescribes for women how they should dress, how they should act in public, and there is not a single verse in the Quran or the teaching of Islam or currently in Afghanistan which is against humanity or discriminates women. It actually uplifts the woman and gives them more right, it gives them dignity and honor. For example, my family and my female members of family are being sexually objectified on public. And they go to the park, they do. There is only certain.
Go shopping and go out. That shit right there, I wouldn't even brought that up because that shit is beyond normal for us. So we don't even bring it up in a conversation as what they're allowed to do, because that shit is fucking.
Out in public, or they're allowed to shop, or they're allowed to do this, or can a woman go to the shop by herself? So I've had to answer this.
Let me ask you, okay, what things do husbands there present?
Okay, so one of those things is that she cannot travel far distance, and there's a this is gonna go into a religious debate now. But the point I'm trying to make, the question he asked me, yes, that's one of them, that they can't go to certain distance with a male that is not related to her. Second point is that she cannot be in a place where there's no one around, like a male and a female that are non-blood related. They can't be alone, and that the reason for that is because of inclination towards feelings and sex and love and all that kind of the desires. So obviously there's a wide.
What about documentation? What about purchases? What kind of? And you're messing up my point, man. When you jump in like that, please don't do that. I'm doing this for a reason.
Sorry.
Okay.
John. One second, man. You guys. Beating around the bush with random questions.
Bullshit. You could walk into a Muslim. Okay, you can call it bullshit. You ask for my view. I'm giving you my view, my friend.
But because
No, why? No, why? I'm being honest with you, mate.
Oh, shit.
Listen.
Here we go again.
Listen. It is the same. Why would I believe your media what they describe my country should be when your media hates me in the first place? They call me a terrorist in the first place. They don't like me. So do I expect your media to come and say something good about my country? No. Why should I believe your source in the first place?
Oh, shit.
Can we ask M? He's a Muslim. M is a Muslim scholar.
You know what? Actually, good. M, what do you know about Afghanistan, bro? Is this guy bullshitting here, man? What do you know about this thing?
Well, Radio Kabul here, coming out of London, is full of lies. I wouldn't even ask him about women's rights to begin with. I would ask him about one thing. You said you come here to my country, kill my people, rape my children, blah, blah, blah. Why didn't you talk to us about Bashabazi? What happens there?
Ooh.
About what?
Why don't you tell us about the practice known as Bashabazi happening in Afghanistan that the United States Army was trying to convince the communities to give up? Why didn't you talk to us about Bashabazi? Do you know what Bashabazi is?
Wait, of course. Wait. Is this Murad guy? I had a conversation with you last time.
Yeah, the Murad guy, yeah.
Okay, so... right, Murad. So first of all, you...
Answer the question, bro.
I am. Calm down. I am. But Bashabazi simply means, in English, is the term used for people who has interest
Child
in
boy rape.
Yeah, no, not rape. Sorry, rape is not the correct word used. So Bashabazi is a culture that came from...
shit. Here we go again.
You asked me a question. Allow me to answer it without a biased opinion of the way you want to hear it. Let me explain, because he asked me a question, so I'm gonna answer it the way I should explain, not the way you want to hear it. Right. So Bashabazi simply is a Farsi word, Persian word, which means playing with the boy. That's what it means.
Shit. Here we go again.
Bacha means boy, Bazi means to play with, right? So this was a culture that came from India and Pakistan because they had something over there called Mujra, and this only started after the Soviet Union. And it's a very minority, was a very minority that did happen after the Soviet Union war, especially during the US occupation time, it was happening. But since Taliban has come in power, that culture doesn't exist anymore. It does not, my brother.
So let me ask something. So when it was in place, it was okay because it was cultural, correct? That's something that...
No, it wasn't okay. The Taliban were fighting against it. But the ex-government...
They were not fighting against...
that's bullshit.
We fought against the Taliban. No, hold on a second. We fought against the Taliban for raping little boys who were orphans. You are a lying sack of poo.
What the fish are you talking about? You did not fight against the Taliban. You fought against the Taliban because the Taliban supported Osama bin Laden, and because you motherfuckers accused us of being terrorists. You decided to come and listen.
No.
To come and invade my land, and now you're here telling me you came because of what?
I didn't decide to invade your land. You decided to invade our land. Hold on.
No. Here's the thing. To me, I want you to answer this, because you said that it was to play with, that they were just playing with those boys and shit. Okay, I noticed you used the word play.
Because that's what it translates to, Jonathan. Bache means boy. Buzzy
no, it means gay rape of little boys. Shut up, you idiot.
But you're raping. But you're raping. Hold on, but hold on. I don't care what we call it. Okay, sometimes when people slipping Mickeys into girls and shit or whatever, people are saying, oh, she wanted it. Whatever. I don't care what you call it. Okay, it's fucking rape. You're raping kids.
So Murad.
I know. Look, I understand. You probably think it's a beautiful thing. You say it's a beautiful thing. I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? These kids,
who said it's a beautiful thing?
Who said it's a beautiful thing? I didn't say that.
I know that, but that's how you're acting.
No. Listen. Don't play with my words.
Maze even talking?
No, because that's not. You guys are trying to point it like he is describing.
Let me ask Murad.
You know the crazy thing about this, bro? To me, I'm gonna tell you, right? Here's what's crazy to me. I remember when. One second, buddy. This is Nelson. Meet your mic, my brother. So, I remember when Biden pulled our forces out of Afghanistan, and it was such a controversial topic back then. And I remember we were still on Clubhouse at this time, right? We weren't on Twitter yet. We did probably 6 or 7 rooms nonstop, probably 20-some thousand people each room, well over 100,000 people. Crazy thing about it is most of those people were actually from Afghanistan, right? You had girls, you had women, you had men. They were scared shitless. Like they were like, the Americans just left us. And I remember, because when we cover these topics, like we're pulling articles, throwing up images, throwing up articles, et cetera, et cetera. I remember this one article where I think it was an article or a video, I can't remember, where the plane was leaving and these people were literally clinging onto the plane at the airport, right? Trying to leave with U.S. forces because they were so scared that the Taliban was going to take over, right? Because it was a crazy situation the way we left. And that's why Biden still gets criticized for it till today, right? So for Afghanis, and I know for a fact that Afghanis do that, I fuck with the Taliban. I know for a fact because I had so many of them. We had so many of them in the space, right?
Yeah,
so for this guy,
they were looking to cover their body.
So for this guy to come up on stage talking about, you guys invaded my land. I'm a Taliban dude. I'm a Taliban member. You know what I'm saying? Can I just answer that et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bro, there are people in your land that don't even want you in that land.
Yo,
real
Nelson,
talk.
Can I?
Like, dude, there's a legit majority of fucking Afghanis think you're a motherfucking terrorist. Majority of fucking Afghanis don't see you as their brother. They see you as a terrorist motherfucker, right? And that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's all good. You want to get on stage, get your voice heard, and all that shit. But bro, Taliban, if you're a fucking terrorist. Straight up.
Can I just answer to you, please, and then I can go off the mic? I ain't going.
No, answer. Yeah. Even terrorists get mic time here. Go ahead.
Hell yeah.
So,
fucking terrorist.
Thank you for calling me a terrorist.
Goddamn right you are. Shit.
Listen. Okay, I'm more than happy to terrorize people like yourself, but let me finish, please. Listen.
Bro, we sorted you out.
So the people that you were talking about, that you spoke to in spaces, these minority of people that lived in Kabul, Farsi speaking mainly.
What about Islamic State?
One mic on him.
These people were the allies that you guys trained and worked for years and gave them hope, then betrayed them. So they had the fear that because they've worked with you guys and betrayed their own people, therefore they fear that the Taliban will catch them and do something. But you know what? Since Taliban have come in power, no one's been killed. You can go look at the situation in the ground right now. Bullshit you, mate, because you know what? All I've heard since I've come in space is abuse, using and foul languages. You lot are full of shit, mate. That's all I can tell you. It's a biased space.
Yeah,
It's a complete biased
Islamic.
space. None of you are honest here to listen to something and to
No, I
understand.
need to jump in.
Just accuse and abuse. I'm done with you lot.
Well, what about Islamic? I hate doing whataboutism, but you talk about, the Taliban broke the shackles of the evil American colonialism, and everyone in Afghanistan's hunky-dory. What about Islamic State Khorasan province? Now that you are the sovereign of the Afghan people, are they freedom fighters? Because they don't seem too happy with the Taliban being.
We are fighting ISIS. We're fighting ISIS created by
Mossad. Because they don't like you.
ISIS is Israel.
Are they freedom fighters now that you are in charge?
ISIS is Mossad. ISIS is Mossad.
Yeah,
They're
shut
using
up.
the label of
Listen,
Islam.
Except Islamic State Khorasan is not Mossad. Islamic State Khorasan is a local.
ISIS is dirt created by Israel to make Islam look
Khorasan
bad.
province is not Mossad. Islamic State Khorasan province is locals. It's Afghanis who said, we don't like the Taliban,
no,
and we're going to make our own Islamic State.
Don't tell me something that is not true.
No, listen, I need to speak up. Jonathan Nelson, I need to speak up.
Is Islamic State Khorasan terrorists, or are they freedom fighters? Because Taliban's in charge now, and they clearly they're not too fond of the new sovereign in charge of Kabul, which is you, the Taliban. So are they freedom fighters fighting the good fight, trying to liberate the Afghan people from the shackles of colonial power?
ISIS started from Iraq and Syria with being different people with tattoos in different parts of the world that didn't speak.
Oh, be quiet! You're such a shit talker.
All of a sudden they pull up in Afghanistan fighting Muslims in behalf of Israel. That's what it is. We, Taliban, we have a history, mate. We have
you're a terrorist. I get it.
No, okay, I'm a terrorist for people like you.
You are a terrorist. Can I speak now? Okay, I've heard you talk bullshit for the last 10 minutes. I need to speak. Let me tell you something, Nelson.
You need to speak.
No, let me speak now. Listen, we've heard a lot. Nah, Nelson, brother. This is an unbelievable level of bullshit I think I've ever heard. There are so many people, NATO officers, Canada, America, the UK, Germany, France, the whole world, who literally, when your government, for whatever reason it did, it left Afghanistan. And so many amazing Afghans who believed in the project of freedom, democracy, when they realized their time was up, everyone hurried, they scurried to the airport in Kabul. All right, I have friends, I have Ranger friends, Americans who were there. They were guarding the base, the Air Force base there to get people out. And when this friggin' Muppet talks bullshit and nonsense, I think of my friends, and there were one of my friends is an American Ranger officer, and they lost 2 or 3 soldiers and suicide bombs from buddies, Taliban, idiot, terrorist, moron friends. And they did that so that Afghan women could get on a plane to escape to freedom. So when I hear this bloody Muppet talk such bullshit and say blah blah blah, your people are happier here. I run a charity here in Canada that brings Afghan refugees, women prosecutors, and most of them are women. So they're women prosecutors, police women, judges who've escaped your crap hole. Okay, what's this guy's name? I don't even know his name. I don't want to know his name. This dumb who says that, our people they're not happy. That's why so many of them have fled your country to live in a better place. I'm not perfect. I don't run the policy of my government, and I don't run Nelson's government or Jonathan's government. But you don't have to be a very sophisticated or intelligent person to say that you should be able to live your life free of tax, of abuse from psychotic, ignorant, dumb men. You shouldn't. This isn't controversial, and you don't deserve to rule the conversation. If you should be able to come up here and clearly say that I'm a Taliban supporter, you are a racist, misogynistic, homophobic piece of crap. You don't have a right to speak.
That
You
plays
are
little boys.
Yeah, bachabazi. You rape little children whose parents were murdered by your
Hey,
family.
see, that's some bullshit, man. Like, you
No,
need to.
you're